Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with Matt Murray.
Hello.
I'm only here with Sean Bell as well, aren't I?
Hello.
And who's this? It's James Farley.
Hello. Why am I last now?
Yeah, nothing's changed.
Because, right, do you want me to explain? Right, I'll explain myself. Brilliant. I wanted to do you last because you weren't on last week and it's a bit of a, is he here, isn't he? And then you're here.
Okay.
Okay?
I was enjoying the tension of whether or not he was going to continue the hello thing. Of course he didn't.
No, of course he didn't. And do you know what? It's like, I mean, the ego coming from my teammates here is unbelievable. I know the fans call me the ego, but how many times have I introduced people and heard, well, you mind last? What about me? It's pathetic.
I mean, it rotates, doesn't it? Someone's got to be last.
Yeah, it's usually you, Sean. I mean, your official spot is last, okay? That is your official spot. But I thought, build up the tension, everyone getting excited about James being back, and they're treated straight away to, fuck him, moaning. You all right, James? How you been?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm great. You don't sound it. I'm loving the summer holidays.
I've ever heard him, Sean. To be honest with you. So should we get straight into feedback? Should we get straight into James's feedback from last week's show? Because we all know that the best thing about James being off is him coming back with notes. So James, what's on your little pad in front of you, eh?
I've got pretty much no notes this time. The only bit,
excellent work.
Have you listened to the show?
No, because the show was fine. It was absolutely fine.
Fine.
Apart from,
just fine, or
well, no, I was dreading getting to the Yakuza bit because I knew from conversations that we'd had offline and that kind of thing that that Sean was going to talk about it, and I knew that David was going to be just itching to get him to slag it off and everything, and I just sat there through most of the episode just dreading that bit coming up to the point where I was even starting to think maybe I'll just skip that bit. I'll just skip forward and just go through and just pretend nothing's ever happened.
James, do you know how crazy that is?
I know.
Do you know how crazy that is?
I know it's crazy. No, because what annoys me about this, David, and we'll get into this later, definitely, is you see what you say about the way that you approach this game. You just do it just to fuck me off. That's basically the only reason you do this.
Are you saying that I didn't like it? It couldn't possibly be because the game has a certain audience, and for people outside that audience, it's actually not as good as you're making out. Right?
No,
it couldn't possibly be that. The only reason why I'm not liking it is to wind you up. You are a fucking narcissist.
No. Okay, no. I've got no problem with you saying that. Okay, it's not for you and all that kind of thing.
Well,
but I know that you're going to make more of it than necessary. Just because you just want to have a go about it. I know
that's part of it, yeah. But I think some of my arguments are legitimate. I think a
couple of them are. But then there's also other issues as well. Which I sat there during that whole thing, and I was driving actually when I was listening to it, and I was gripping that steering wheel as I was doing it.
Okay. So let's analyse this. What was it that Sean said that got you so upset?
Nothing that Sean specifically said.
Nothing that Sean said.
Sorry, I thought it was Matt that had a preference to... Oh, no, it was James that had a preference to Sean, isn't it? James, you're just feeding into the rumours.
No.
The rumours that you love Sean Bell.
No. Okay. What it was there was a couple of things that he brought up, which were, how he was feeling about it. I can't remember specifically.
Convenient.
Because I was daydreaming.
Yeah. Sean actually said the game was fucking wank, but that's fine. There's an angle there.
But then I knew that you were just going to keep just leading him down, being like, yeah, it's rubbish, isn't it? It's terrible. It's one of the worst games ever made, and all that kind of thing. And I was just sitting there, just cringing.
Because I don't think I said it was one of the worst games ever made.
No, but I was just sitting there cringing, listening to you talking about it in your ignorance and inexperience of the game, and it just annoyed me. Just sat there.
Inexperience of the game. I put nearly 7, maybe even over 7 hours into it.
But in a game that is 70 hours long or anything, that's nothing, David. That's nothing.
It's enough to know that I didn't like the combat. I didn't like the humour.
Okay, so you hadn't look. Okay, look, can we just wait until we get to Sean talking about this? Because
probably a good idea. Yeah.
It doesn't matter what Sean says because you'll disagree, and then but it's
no, of course it matters what Sean says because it's Sean Bell. Sean, you didn't do anything wrong. It was that nasty David Turner.
You're always making me say things, Dave. It's. All those times we agree on everything.
He was leading my Sean Bell down a dark path.
But Sean, wasn't the game rubbish? Wasn't it, Sean? Rubbish, wasn't it? Do you not agree?
Pretty much what David was doing. He was like, it's terrible, isn't it?
It was, David.
Yeah.
For once, Sean Bell wasn't on a fence and you were having a go at him for it. Right, okay.
It just wound me up because of the lack of, like, how little it's been played, and then just like how much
it's all about the lack of how little it's been played.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Right, okay. All right, okay. Let's get to the listeners' feedback. Matt, they all loved it, did they, last week?
Oh, yeah, they did actually. Before that, a little bit of a Kickstarter update. But by the time you hear this...
I'm sorry if you didn't order anything from Kickstarter, because these past few shows have been...
Why are you apologising to people who haven't bought a T-shirt?
Yeah, go fuck yourselves.
Fuck 'em, yeah.
Listen to a 3-hour update about Kickstarter.
Anyway, so if you listen to us on Wednesday, we're basically aiming to shit them out basically towards the end of the week.
What's that laughter for?
No, because the way that Matt pronounced ship sounded like another word. It just sounded like it sounded like we're planning to ship them out on this day, and I was just thinking,
just turn them right out onto your doorstep.
We're planning to shit these things out towards the end of the week, so you may be receiving them on Saturday, maybe the start of next week, but they are coming in the next week or so.
I mean, I'm not completely happy about you announcing this because I've got the responsibility of putting them in the post, haven't I? And now you've just added pressure. That's fine.
Right, just put them in the post.
Oh yeah, I would. I'm not going to go there. Let's go. Go on.
What?
All I'm saying, if there's a delay, ain't my fault. Go on. No. I'm not going to bring it up because I don't want to berate you because I'm reborn Turners apparently. So I'm not going to bring it up. All I'm going to say is if there is a delay, it might not be my fault. Have a think about it.
And there will be delay because mine still hasn't turned up. Everyone else has got theirs.
Yeah, but you live in Canterbury. That's Canterbury. And the postal system is appalling. It's quite literally one man. It's got to be like Father Christmas in order to get you fucking T-shirts to you on time.
In the next week or so, hopefully you should get yours.
That's better. I like it. Improve.
Week to 10 days. So yeah, but when you do receive them, it'd be amazing to see your pictures. So yeah, send them to @ComputerGamePod on Twitter if and when you receive them. And yeah, we'd love to see pictures of your T-shirts.
Can we just think, Matt? Can you think of the most lame hashtag that they could put on? Like, I mean,
we don't need a hashtag.
No, we do need a really lame one. Like, I got a shirt. Hashtag I got a shirt.
Well, that's fine. Hashtag I got a shirt.
I got a shirt. And it double points if you actually put that hashtag on the picture of you wearing the shirt, like in big red text. Yeah, we want to see those pics.
Hashtag I got a shirt. In the next 7 to 10 days.
I got a shirt.
In the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean certainly
fingers
before
crossed.
the end of October.
Yeah.
Enjoy Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, Christmas 2019, they've just... Please send us your T-shirt pics in the snow.
Wear them to EGX as well. If you're coming to see us the live show EGX 2022, come and see. Make sure you've got them on. Iron out the creases from the packaging, and we'll get going. Yeah, oh, it's exciting. I've got 200 T-shirts in my house. It's weird.
Yeah.
Let's go. Right. Any other feedback?
Yeah, that's it. No, Stuart Wright tweeted us, or I think actually emailed us because it's quite big on. So we talked about Xbox Scarlet Cloud last week, which is Xbox's rumoured cloud gaming system. He had some thoughts and speculation regarding last week's story on the Xbox Scarlet Cloud thing. I'm with David about when it comes to not wanting a streaming console for the reasons that he gave. However, I'm not sure the streaming quality is really for people like us. I have friends who don't upgrade until the end of a generation, purely because of cost, and many friends who still have 360s for their kids. A cloud gaming network would allow casual gamers to join a new generation instantly, giving devs a much bigger audience to sell to. only one build to design for as well, rather than porting games across generations, and also get a huge audience into the Xbox ecosystem, buying stuff in free-to-play games, subbing to Xbox Live and Game Pass, etc. You mentioned Sony had failed at this, but I believe this is because their service only offered old games for a long time, rather than access to the latest games and graphics at a much cheaper entry point. David also said he wanted to try out cloud gaming system before buying the hardware. I'll speculate, and this is actually a really good point, I'll speculate that Microsoft will bring cloud functionality to current Xbox systems so people can see it in action. They make little to no money from hardware sales, so their goal doesn't have to be to sell you a new system, just more games and subs. I also think the cloud system will be available on traditional Xbox Scarlet, which is other rumoured new hardware, as an alternative as well. Imagine buying a game on launch day, playing the first level or two instantly with no install, no day one patch, leaving the system overnight to download full games to your system for non-streaming play. Obviously, this relies on all systems working, but even if it is 90% as good, as they say it is, I think there's a good market there for less hardcore gamers and those seeking speed and convenience. That said, I can barely access the Microsoft Store without something failing to load, so they have a lot to prove. That's from SMW.
I think that is probably I've never heard so many good points in a single email.
Yeah, you've absolutely smashed it. But particularly one about actually launching it or having it on current gen systems so we can test it out.
Yeah, what a good way to get people on board with the service. If it's as good as it needs to be, and they want to show it off, yeah. If you've got an Xbox One, log in a month free on that rather than buying a whole new system to test it out. I think that would be a great idea. Hopefully they implement something like that, because I'd be all over that.
Yeah, and if they do a big trial, I mean, so when I got my X, they have like a 3-month Xbox Game Pass trial, and I'm still paying for that now. So these trials do work. I mean, I had the 3 months, and then I forgot to cancel it 1 month, and then I thought then I forgot to cancel it again. Anyway, so but actually now I've actually
cancel it now.
Well, I have actually since cancelled
live
it.
on
annoying
air.
Because I played the game this week, and I'm like, it's just quite cool going on there. And they've redesigned like the Game Pass store, the storefront now, so it's much easier to find games. But it was quite cool this week, thinking I need something to play. I'll go on there, download it. It was nice. It's like
I do like that, and I bought, for some reason, I don't know why, not too long ago I bought a year's worth of EA Access, and there really is fuck all on there. I mean,
yeah, I haven't renewed mine, although it was only £20 a year, which is amazing. I didn't renew it after that first year. Not that, I guess, I don't know, I didn't bother. There's nothing new on there. Sure, isn't Unraveled 2? Is that not on there for a bit, or do you think it's 10-hour trials?
I had it, and I thought that the latest Mass Effect was on there, but it's not, is it? The Andromeda.
On there, yeah.
Is it? Because I had a look on the thing, I couldn't see it. Maybe they.
Yeah, I think that is on there now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on there. I don't know. I mean, Game Pass looks way better, but
do you reckon?
More expensive, isn't it?
Do you reckon they might do something like bundling in like Game Pass with like a console or something like that, like for the next generation?
What do you mean?
How would that work?
The streaming, like if they release this streaming box and you buy it like for really cheap, but with like a monthly subscription, like to Game Pass and Xbox Live Gold, like all in one,
people have been saying that for years, haven't they? Like a mobile phone, you mean?
Yeah.
Hang on, you're talking about two separate things. Are you thinking that they're going to bundle Xbox Live and Game Pass, or are you saying that they'll do a monthly payment with a console like they did for the 360s?
Potentially both. Like maybe there'll be like two options or something like that. But just bundling those two things together so that more people get. I mean that would be like a killer thing to do that, even if it was a bit more expensive. Like just saying you've got like Live Gold and also Game Pass as well. That. I mean I'd start probably using my Xbox a lot more if that was the case.
Yeah. So if they said okay, so just like a phone, maybe it's like £50 down payment, or maybe there's no down payment, and then you pay say like £15 a month, and that's all you pay every month, and then you get both of them. Yeah, I mean, like Stuart's right. They don't really make any money, and often a loss actually on consoles. But yeah, I mean, and the biggest things they make are the money from services like Live and Game Pass. So I guess that would probably be more beneficial for them. Or I guess it's nice to get a big hit when people do buy new consoles. But yeah, I can't wait to see what they do. But yeah, the whole idea of trying it out on current gen systems is absolutely the way to go.
The way to go.
Absolutely.
Yes, okay.
Adam wants Stoke-on-Trent. Feedback first. He also asked the question later on. Am I the only one who felt a little bit weirded out by David enjoying collecting money and going around handing it out to little children and walking away in Roblox?
We didn't know their age of the people. That
A
I was
little
giving the
creepy,
money away to.
maybe. Adam
I
says.
suppose so. Yeah, that's why I stopped doing it because I
Because you got a message on Xbox Live saying, please. Don't do it.
please,
Please.
you gotta complete
You
it.
gotta stop doing
No, no, because I was playing on my phone, so that would have been weird.
Well done.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, I didn't know the ages of the people that I was handing money out to. I was just going up to characters and just pressing the donate button and giving them 1,000 in-game currency or whatever.
You're definitely on
and
this.
just walking off. But then I did think, yeah, no, that is a bit creepy. And if someone was, that's why I stopped playing it. That's why I stopped playing it.
And deleted it, and then didn't mention it on the podcast.
Yep,
So you got to keep our shit locked down.
Well, I did mention it on the podcast.
Yeah, it was a joke.
Oh, all right, gotcha. Yeah, no, I deleted it.
Russell Newman
You're right.
tweeted in. So last week I talked about the fact that my daughter doesn't really play games, whereas everyone else is on the pod does. But anyway, don't despair, Matt, says Russell. I have 2 sons and a daughter. Sons love games, but don't want to play with dad. Daughter's not at all interested in games, but really enjoys couch co-op. I recommended the isometric Tomb Raider games, Female Lead 2, which is a bonus, and the recent Unravel 2. I mean, on the times I have played games and on the Switch, she is definitely interested and she wants to play and help and whatnot. But she's I think it's gradually coming. And if I'm laying upstairs in the office playing Fortnite on my Switch, she obviously asks a lot of questions about why people are on the ground and why people being hit with pickaxes and stuff. But I think
Can you
one
imagine
day,
that if tomorrow she come up to you and said, "Dad, this is your one chance to get me into video gaming. I've finally decided that today is the day and we have to play Super Mario Odyssey."
Have we got that one, Daddy?
Breakdown.
I'll be back in half an hour. I've just got to pop out.
And then you turn up and the manager comes out. There's already a plate on the fucking counter. Yeah. Go on.
Adam Turner, I haven't emailed in a while, but just want to say how much I enjoyed last week's show. This may or may not be related to the lack of a team member. I couldn't say. I'm not sure.
Rude.
Little dig there. The dad chat, once again, a highlight of the show. With a 2-year-old daughter, I can fully relate to your stories. Now, this is why I had this email in feedback. I'm a little bit confused, but I'll carry on. Congratulations on the Patreon. I was more than happy to chip in for this outstanding podcast. Keep up the good work.
Do you mean the Kickstarter?
I mean, either that or someone else has started a Patreon in our name. And they're raking it in.
Has anyone listened to a recent Kane and Rinse? Do you reckon they go, "Hey, we're also doing the
we're collecting on behalf of computer game show."
Computer game show.
Yeah,
please.
Please, you got to donate. I assume. Adam, I assume we're talking about potentially like the PayPal address so that you can donate. But if there's a Patreon, then someone link us up. It sounds exciting. But I had to add in. Athena Allen, she last week talked about Adam. Spill Milk buying a Pro Controller because of us, and now Athena Allen's bought it, and it's so good. Sure, you need to get a Pro Controller.
No, I fucked up because I linked you all the other day, didn't I? There was a deal on, I can't remember, it's like fucking Tesco's eBay account or something, but it was like it's like 47 quid, and I was like, cool, I'll do that when I get home from this wedding. And yeah, the deal had run out, so fucked it.
You donut.
Yeah,
damn it. I mean, you
Do
know,
right
like, you can
then,
access the internet on mobile telephones these days.
I know, I was just busy.
Oh yeah, I guess
I had a child at a wedding. It was horrendous.
Horrendous. And you're still here to tell a tale, so
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Tonix T-Snake at Bad Bonobo on Twitter. Just to be clear, I fully condone Matt Murray admitting he's shit at games and skipping bits. This is obviously related to me skipping bits of Super
Fully
Mario.
what? Condone it?
Yeah.
I fully condone Matt admitting
it?
he's shit at games and skipping bits. To be fair, I get where he's coming from. To a certain kind of person, something sitting there unofficial will nag at you in a deeply unpleasant way. Cheating to get rid of that is fine. I don't because of other mental problems. That's why I collected all the fucking feathers in the first Assassin's Creed like a big dope.
Matt,
Nice.
can I ask a question? Because I've been thinking about this. I mean, this is back to the, is it on your plate thing and all that kind of thing. But do you genuinely feel that you finished that game?
I mean, there's unfinished business, but it's not enough for me to have to think about it every single second of the day.
So as a no, you don't feel you finished the game?
Well, no, but I guess I have finished the game. I just could have done it a better way.
No, you haven't. You
Well,
haven't.
no, I technically have, actually.
Yes, James, I've missed you.
I technically have finished the game.
What you have? You cheated.
Well, no,
So,
but I have finished the game.
You might as well have watched it on YouTube.
No, but I have finished the game, technically.
Yeah,
You
by
can't deny
cheating.
that.
You might have just watched it on YouTube. It's the same thing.
Well, no, I wouldn't have admitted if that was the case, but you can't go with like a different angle just when I've cheated this way. Anyway, regardless, I have finished it, but it's not nagging at me.
You haven't finished it, mate.
Well, no, but I have technically finished it. I got the final.
You haven't though.
I have. No, whether it's on my plate or not is a different matter, but I have technically finished the game.
You haven't.
So okay,
No, I
do you
have.
remember like in the old day with PC games where you could like type in like stuff into consoles and like skip levels and stuff?
It's Games Genie.
Yeah,
Game
if
Genie.
you bought like if you'd have done that and then you just skipped to the last level and just like walked through a door and then you finished it, would you have then just said, "Yeah, I've completed this game"?
No, because that feels like a total piss take. Well, speaking of which,
What?
right,
And skipping
so,
a massive part of the biggest challenge in the game isn't a piss take.
Yeah, if you can't do it, you just say, "I
didn't
can't
skip
do
all
it,"
of
and that's
In fact,
it.
speaking of that, so in our Discord, go to bit.ly/TCGS Discord if you want to join. There's a chat, and I think it was Ben Scientologist said, I used the frog skip. Which one do you use? And I hadn't heard of frog skip, and I actually used some other bits within the levels. It wasn't like this glitch, and the frog skip is insane, but I think that's been patched out since. I presume you guys have seen that.
I saw Matt getting judgmental about people using the frog skip in the Discord.
Well,
That's outrageous.
Also,
as well.
oh my god, that was shocking because there's like some weird like glitch thing where you're the frog and you jump and then near that giant like dinosaur thing and suddenly you're literally bouncing over like invisible pathway all the way to the end. I use the official skips which are actually built into the game. It wasn't a cheat. It was just like it was actually quite hard to pull off.
Oh, fuck off, man. Right, okay, go on.
Yeah, anyway, Justin Brimley, trust me when I say the story of Yakuza 0 goes places and you will care about what happens to those characters. I think we'll probably talk about that on a little bit later. Neil Harmon, this is Dave and Sean droning on negatively about the genuinely excellent Yakuza 0 is exactly the way I feel about a puddle of stagnant piss that is Dark Souls. Each to their own, I guess. Holy shit. Dave's moaning about No Man's Sky now. Sean, on the other hand, has slightly redeemed himself.
Yes!
He didn't say how, but you had.
I assume by having some positive things to say about No Man's Sky.
Yeah, I guess so.
I wasn't even that negative about it, was I? Was I negative about it? I sort of just said maybe I should play
It's sort of,
it's
sort of basically like it's not for you and maybe creative mode is the way forward, yeah.
I booted that up again this week. And then regretted it.
Mate, hold on. We ain't on that bit yet. Have you forgotten how the show works?
It's not what you've been playing yet. It's his feedback.
Well, if you're gonna,
he's gone rogue.
If you're gonna attack two people for not liking the correct game, and then you attack one of the most critically acclaimed games of all time, that's a bit...
Yeah, I mean, you're not doing yourself many favours there, right, mate?
Sean S. Thomas, I'm with David Turners on the Labo trailer, by the way. Expect some half-assed direct about a weird RPG and woke my daughter up early to show her the trailer next day and sent it around my design agency at work. Love the sheer inventiveness of it. And favourite trailer ever was Breath of the Wild E3 2016, by the way. I don't actually remember that, but I'm sure it's...
That just made me angry. I did, because do you know what? I really didn't have a lot of hope for that Zelda game. You remember, and I hold my hands up, I was totally wrong. I totally misjudged it.
Mm-hmm. I was definitely worried about it, yeah.
So Zelda, like, leading up to it was, I was done with the series. Totally done with the series. So there wasn't that excitement from me. And then to add to it, they just kept saying, it's open world now. And I'm like, and I kept going, well, Zelda kind of is open world. Like, that's it. You go anywhere, you travel all over the place, and you can go in and out of places. Yeah, but you see that mountain, you can go to it. You could do that in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, and there's always that question of like, yeah, I can, but is there any fucking point? Like, how is it? How's it actually structured?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. It also looked really, really barren, didn't it?
Yeah, that was the main complaint. I remember when we watched those trailers was just like, it was just like saying it looks empty. Is there going to be anything to do? You know, the whole thing. And we were wrong.
I mean, everything they said was bang on because it is, you know, although. Yeah, look at that mountain. You can go to it, right? And yes, you could do that in Ocarina of Time. Wasn't the same, was not the same. And what it turned out to be was something utterly incredible, and I completely misjudged it. And if anything, every trailer leading up to it just made me more angry. I was just like, why are people going nuts after this? Oh, it's going to be the same old shit. And then I played it and nearly cried with excitement every time it loaded up. Some of my claims may be false.
Some claims may be false. Last week, I think maybe a little week, maybe could have been the week before, but we talked about airsoft and the fact that if you in some airsoft places, I think someone might have told us, but regardless. We found out or spoke about the fact that if you're point blank with someone, rather than firing airsoft in someone's dick, basically you hold out a bit of paper and it will say bang bang or something similar.
No, you've totally
Your
ruined
mind
the
is
story.
fascinating, man.
You've taken 4 stories there and mashed them together into a pile of different stories. And then basically, if you come face to face with someone, if you don't want to hurt them with your gun, you get a plate out and put Mario Odyssey on it. I don't really know why, but that's what happened. I'm sure Bill Clinton told us this. It was what happened. I was watching airsoft videos, like competitive airsoft videos, and what they do is when they get close, they say bang bang to say, look, I've shot you, you're out of the game, right? As opposed to actually firing the bullets at them or whatever. I thought this email was actually pretty fucking good because I didn't even think that this would, like, the idea behind what he's about to tell you didn't even enter my mind, but it's so much better, it's unreal. Go on.
Hey, James Hughes. All right, lads, just a bit of info on the airsoft bang bang rule since I played quite a lot. The sites I go to don't use it because they think it's daft. Instead, they offer a surrender option. So if you're up close and catch someone unawares, you can give them a chance to surrender before shooting them if you like. The other player would have the option of surrendering and being out of the game or trying to shoot back, but will most likely be shot before they can react.
Yeah, that's the better way of doing it, isn't it? It's clearly the better way of doing it. I like that, and thanks for emailing in and telling us that, because I genuinely didn't even cross my mind that would be a possibility. But
imagine just surrendering though. It's always just, why wouldn't you get the opportunity to just shoot someone if you?
Oh, you would totally just shoot them.
Yeah, even if I was going to get shot back,
who cares?
That's happened to me. It does hurt, but
but can we just appreciate for a moment then that Matt thought that during a game of airsoft, you can take out a bit of bang bang written on it.
Where have I seen that? I heard that.
So that came from, because I was then saying about playing Cyberpunk.
God, my brain
live
is
action.
stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. God, I'm the worst. I really am the worst person. Okay. Thomas Llama Fluff 42. Thanks for the breakdancing update in last week's pod. Although I do hope we are not placing too much pressure on James. If his moves aren't up to scratch in time, I'm prepared to settle for some dad dancing to Cotton Eye Joe instead. Go, James.
James is the Great Yarmouth breakdancing champion of 1983. So, I mean...
Still got the T-shirt.
There's no pressure.
When I was 3 years old.
He's used to it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. You start early with this in this game.
James, we were thinking about where you were last week, and the suggestion was that you were actually practicing your breakdancing, were you?
No, I wasn't. No.
Okay.
He doesn't need to, Dave. We know that.
I'm not breakdancing. I don't know where this has come from, and I don't know.
James,
it's ridiculous,
you should know
and it's
by
not
now,
happening.
the more you insist it's not happening, the more fun it is for everyone else to keep bringing it up.
Exactly. Not only that, the people that actually come to our live show at EGX are going to be chanting break dance at some point repeatedly, mainly because I stand up on stage and say, right, now please start chanting break dance to James Farley.
And I'll just stand there looking angry. It's just not going to happen.
I mean, it's win-win then, isn't it, really? I mean, is anything better than watching you get angry on stage? I don't think so. I think that's about as good as it gets.
I got a bit of an update this week, James, about the EGX show, and they confirmed that there is a podium. So
that's good.
You'll be in your element once again. If you want to leave us feedback on this show, any show, or got a question or whatever you've got, it's at ComputerGamePod on Twitter, or you can email thecomputergameshow@gmail.com.
I genuinely thought for a moment then, why would he break dance on a podium?
What's that got to do with James' main job, which is now breakdancing instead of reading out the news?
No, sorry, breakdancing while reading out the news, Sean.
That would be amazing.
It's going to be fun. That is Britain's Got Talent shit there, right there.
No.
Is that it for feedback?
Yes.
Well, let's get our breakdancing news reporter, James Farley, to read the news for the week. James Farley. Did you enjoy our listening of your audio file last week?
Yeah, I thought it was all right. I wasn't I was expecting the sort of stuff you were going to say. It was fine. It was absolutely
You weren't
fine.
though, were you? Because you kept saying, this is great because David can't answer me back.
Well, yeah.
Well, I can.
You can, but you couldn't
Could
interrupt
throughout the whole
me.
thing.
That's really what I meant, was that you couldn't
No,
interrupt.
that's
and
what I
could
did.
just
I hit pause and interrupted you and slagged you off for a bit, and then we continued. I mean, it was perfect for me because, well, it was semi-perfect for me because I couldn't hear your reaction to me winding you up. You know, when your voice gets high and then say things like, this is ridiculous. Like, that's when I know I've got you. When you proper, like, break like that, that's the perfect
And
moment.
for fans of James's high-pitched voice, there'll be more come up in the Yakuza section.
I'm really
See how
chilled
many,
about that.
this is ridiculous, as he says. Right, go on. Let's go.
Well, you know how I always say that it's been a bad week for news, and
It's been a good week this week.
it's been a particularly bad week. I mean,
Oh,
to the point where like Matt has also shoved a load of non-stories in here as well that I didn't approve. Which, like, I'm not gonna even bother with them because they're dreadful.
Actually, Joy, sorry, James. That actually Sean
Joy?
had added those, not me.
What?
I don't believe that.
I didn't do
He wouldn't
shit.
add these. These are terrible. Anyway,
Whoa, what's going on here? Oh, right, okay, you were trying to see if he reacted, and he just didn't believe that. My Sean wouldn't do that,
No.
Matt. My Sean
my Sean.
would put good stories in. Go on.
so anyway, okay. So the first thing, which is kind of significant, I guess, is about Fortnite on Android, because it seems that Epic Games confirmed this last week that if you want to play Fortnite on Android, then you're going to have to download the installer from Epic's website because they're cutting the Google Store completely out of the picture. And I mean, do you want to hear what
It's a
Tim
free
Sweeney
game,
said?
isn't it? It's free.
Yeah, there's in-app purchases.
Yes, the in-app
So
purchases,
what-
isn't it? So they want to
Yeah.
get, because it's like Google get like 30% of like the store tax on that, and that's the main reason why it seems that Epic aren't happy about it. And
Right, so I don't use Android, Sean.
Yeah.
But so in-game purchases
Yeah.
through an Android game
Yeah.
have to be done through the Play Store.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So
It's the
it'll
same as
come up
iOS.
with you. Yeah.
I was,
Yeah, but I thought it was different. Android's meant to be all like free and all that. And
Well, it
Well,
is
so-
in that you can do what Epic are doing and that you can offer your app outside of the Google Play Store if you want.
right.
But then,
Okay, so this
Yeah.
is quite a common thing then. This isn't.
not really, no. I mean, you can do it. Basically, the only sort of non-Play Store apps I've downloaded are just things like YouTube apps where the video carries on playing after you close it and you can download videos and stuff like that. So basically things
Does
that
your phone treat you like an idiot when you download
It does.
an app
It's
like
like,
that? Is it like,
this is
"Are
from
you
a
sure
it's from a non-verified source. It might have viruses.
It's probably got things in
Yeah.
it. It's probably got dirt in it. Are
Um,
you sure?
And basically, yeah. So I think like the first time you do it, it's like you have to enable it in your settings, where it's like I want to install like non-verified apps, basically. But once that switch is flicked, like you could potentially get into downloading all sorts. But the
Well, yeah, I
concern here is that people are going to just like Google for like on their phones. Oh, where do I download Fortnite for my phone? And
Oh,
if
right,
some
and it'll be dodgy
fucker's
shit.
SEO's good enough, it'll be like up there with the official download, and people could download all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, what I found fascinating about this was the statement where it was like, oh, but it costs a lot of money to make Fortnite, and if we don't get every penny, it's like, come on, guys. Like,
You're doing all right.
Yeah, just admit
doing
that
all
it's
right.
like, well, actually, 30% of all in-app purchases through Android devices equates to millions of dollars. Just say it. It's it's fine. And there was some other shit about, I forget the exact quote, but it was like, oh, it gives us like a closer relationship with our players. What?
yeah.
The fuck does that mean? It's
Well, it means we can take more of their money.
exactly,
You know,
that is
like-
all it means.
Well, more of a percentage.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
they're still taking. The price isn't gonna change. Unlike, say, like when Spotify had to raise their monthly thing to a tenner, whereas normally at $7.99 because they didn't want to lose the 30% through iOS.
I mean, what's interesting is, I don't know if Google have changed their stance on this, but Comixology, which is, I think it used to be independent, it's now owned by Amazon. It's a really good way of buying and reading comics on your iOS or Android device. So one day, they just switched their payment method. So you still downloaded the Comixology app through the Play Store, but in order to buy stuff, you didn't use your Google Play charging system. It was like you had to just sign up for a Comixology account. So basically, so they had their cake and ate it, I guess. But I don't know if since that Google have gone, right, well, fuck it, you either use our paying system or you don't, or you get out.
Well,
It's true what you said though, like how people could take advantage of that by fucking around with web addresses.
Well,
And
yeah, because
all I think of is the people behind PUBG now just like registering www.fortnite.com and then it takes you to PUBG download and you're like, what is we going to get them back?
I mean, yeah, because it's in the case of Fortnite, it's extra scummy because obviously a lot of kids play it, and they are presumed. I say that actually, probably a lot of kids are more savvy about what they should and shouldn't download on their phones than some adults.
Nah, that's bullshit.
But yeah.
Well, it depends what age though. But yeah, my 6-year-old nephew, we went to the park at the weekend, and he was doing Fortnite dances.
Yes.
And I said, "Are you letting him play Fortnite?" And they're like, "No, we just downloaded the Fortnite Dances app."
What?
There's an app that just shows you dances from Fortnite.
You are kidding me.
No. No.
Why is that? No, the wedding I was at, there was a kid there who was about 10 and he was just doing all dances. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, where does he know all these amazing dances?" And he's like, "Fortnite." He's like fucking flossing, showing all the older kids.
It's one of those things
done.
though, right? Sean, it's one of those things because I've got, grown-up friends,
Yep.
and when
Show
we're
off.
talking like, I know, and when we're chatting about it, like, we'll see something like a kid doing a dance in the street or whatever, like, and they'll go, "Oh, what's he doing?" "Oh, it's a dance from Fortnite." "Oh yeah, my son's been talking about Fortnite." "What's Fortnite?" "Well, it's this game," and I'm explaining to him, and I'm basically like, it's as if I'm going, "Yeah, I like loom bands as well." You know what I mean? It's like, no, I've been playing video games for a long time. This is different. Like, it's not like a kid's craze, although it is a kid's craze, and I play it, and oh God, I'm just
should talk about Roblox.
Good point. Where were we?
Yeah,
Was that the
what's the news story, James?
Well, that's it. I mean, Sean's
good.
done the whole thing. So
Yeah, they're
let's
doing
move on.
something
out of it,
potentially a
didn't
little bit scummy to take some extra cash for themselves. Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
Back to the studio.
Switch sales near 20 million, down slightly from last year. I know you love these stories, David. I mean, this is like just basically Switch is doing pretty well. They're now up to 19.6 million, and although this is like slightly down from last year, it's probably because they released different stuff. Because like last year it was Mario Kart 8 and ARMS, whereas this year it's been like Smash. Was it? It's been like the tennis in it this year. And
The tennis one,
yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Captain
the releases haven't been as widely acclaimed as well, which doesn't help. Labo didn't do quite as well as I think they thought it was going to do.
Well, the numbers for Labo came out as well, because that was like 1.39 million like combined, which doesn't sound like a huge amount, I think, compared with what people were expecting for that. Because I think,
especially when you consider they're way more than a retail game.
yeah, I mean, because the buzz for that was starting. You know, like when they first released those trailers, it was starting to feel like a Wii Fit kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, where it was going to be like a massive deal, but yeah, it doesn't seem to be. But I don't know, it's still not that bad, like the numbers. But I mean, most significantly though, I mean, it's selling roughly the same as the PS4 did at the same stage in its life. But then also their game sales have doubled over the same period. So like stuff like Tropical Freeze and stuff is selling like really well. Like they're doing great with this.
I wonder how much is factored in for indie games in those figures.
It's got to be
because
massive,
there's
right?
a lot of them.
Yeah. I mean, if it wasn't for them, the Switch would be looking pretty barren, right? Like,
Oh, God, yeah.
definitely being kept
yeah.
afloat by indie stuff.
It is at the moment, yeah. No, I must admit that the don't look like there's much on the horizon either. I'm a little bit
Well,
not pissed off or concerned.
we've got another Smash Brothers Direct this week, mate. So,
You're blowing my news, Sean.
I thought you were just skipping it, mate. I thought you just.
I don't know. I'm skipping it. I was just going to put it as a footnote to this
right,
one,
okay.
but it's fine. Yeah,
I hope it's 8 hours long.
Actually, we've all booked the day off, yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Cool.
Yeah, no. I mean, what I'd be interested in is to see comparing it to what they were, because they had that announcement just before it launched, didn't they? This is what we want to sell, and then James and I had a huge argument about it. We were like, "Oh, it could do that well," and James was pretty much adamant that it wouldn't. I don't think it has done as well as that original sort of target. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that.
It must have done, surely. It must have exceeded what their predictions were.
It was. I remember it being extremely high.
No,
But
after the first year, their expectation was really, really high, and I don't think it's hit that.
Well, we'll see.
You have to listen
Just
back.
on the subject of Smash Brothers, did everyone hear about what happened at Evo this year?
Was this the Bayonetta thing?
Yeah. So I don't know a huge amount about this, but basically, yeah. So Smash Brothers, is it its final year, whichever incarnation of Smash Brothers this was, presumably the Wii U one, and basically, yeah, in the final. It turned out it was going to be Bayonetta versus Bayonetta, and apparently she's shit for some reason, or she's not favoured by the pro scene, which is weird because half the characters are fucking banned. So if they hate her so much, I don't know why she's not on the ban list. Anyway, people started walking out during the final.
Oh, for God's sake!
In protest,
mate, I've had to sit and watch David Livermore play in centre midfield for Millwall.
Yeah.
When I've turned, I didn't expect it. Looked at the team sheet and I didn't walk out. I think you can watch Bayonetta at Evo. I think you can do that. Livermore was fucking appalling. Go on.
Just before we leave Nintendo stuff, actually, you know, the NPDs came out, like the American sales figures came out for July last week, and the NES Classic was actually, you know, is June 2018, but NES Classic was June 2018's highest selling unit hardware platform. It's crazy. So more than that PS4, Switches, and all sorts.
Why do people like those so much?
I don't know, Sean. I don't know.
But it's a NES. It wasn't even like the SNES Classic, which is obviously much more recent. But the NES Classic sold more than PS4, Switch, Xbox. It's
fucking hell. I mean, obviously the sort of
the NES has shitter games.
Well, there is that. Obviously the whiff of exclusivity, because you know they sort of. Have they been clear on whether or not they're making more of either the NES or SNES?
No, they do. They have since started making more, and I guess that's why people can buy it now. Because obviously, a couple of Christmases ago, they're really hard to get hold of, and they were going for ridiculous amounts on eBay. But now they're much more plentiful.
Okay.
Yeah,
no, it felt like it's Nintendo doing their possibly artificial scarcity thing. Where it was just like everyone was like, the conversation wasn't like, oh fuck, everyone's got one. It's no one can get one, which somehow makes it seem better.
Wouldn't it be more appealing if it wasn't a mini, if it was a 1-on-1 scale size of the old NES?
No, because it isn't like half the fun. You get like a mini thing on your desk or on your table or your shelf or something. I mean, I haven't got one, but...
Yeah, but something that actually looks like a NES rather than I don't know.
But it does.
I don't understand it. I'm just trying to understand. But I clearly
I'm quite
don't.
looking forward to the mini N64, if and when that comes.
N64 would be a good shout, but as we've said before in this podcast, there's a lot of games that would not be on that system that defined the N64 era. Yeah. So
can't wait for everyone to replay GoldenEye and scream. Speaking of
Golden Guy, welcome. We've got Golden Guy. Dun 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 dun. Just walking around. Just walking around in a guy.
Just quickly on Nintendo, this is getting off the point now, but we're a month away from Nintendo Switch online service launching. What do we know?
Nothing.
It's 20 quid.
Sure.
It's 20 quid. There's some NES games. You can play stuff online, but we still don't know if it's first-party stuff only or if it's everything.
Sorry, Sean, I lost it for a moment there because my brain went as far as creating box art for Golden Guy and screenshots.
Yeah, and also the guy's like, the name's Bend. John Bend.
My name's John Bend, and I'm the Golden Guy. 003.
Who's that little guy in the hat? It's Blowjob.
Okay. Right, we're back. We just edited it out about 3 hours of me laughing then, but I'm back. It's 1:30. Let's finish the podcast. Last one, James. Last one.
Okay, so
James has got no time for nonsense.
Gathered yourselves.
Zero time for nonsense.
Didn't think it was that funny.
Don't make me. I can make sounds, James. Don't make me make the sounds.
Okay. So there was a new Life is Strange 2 trailer as well that came out this week.
It was good, wasn't it?
I had to stick this in here. So what has everyone seen it?
Yeah, it's brilliant. I can't wait. Clearly, the boy pushed back a car on a policeman, and I'm well up for that. What was his name again? I don't know, the soppy kid that walked around his house dressing up and that. I'm all over that. I'm all over it. Can't wait. But it's not... They said they're going to reveal it August 20th, and it's not released till the end of September. So I'm just assuming that August 20th there's going to be a more
a proper trailer.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't really want to watch. I mean, I was going to buy it anyway. That teaser's absolutely more enough. I sort of don't want to watch the trailer, but we'll see what I'm like.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I don't
actually,
need to.
And
Really.
yeah. The worst are the mid-episode trailers. I'm just like, I'm gonna play it. I don't need to see these bits. Which I didn't. I just didn't click the links. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to. I don't know if I can avoid it though. I don't know if I'm going to have the willpower.
That was the weird thing, because, I mean, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about, what's your favourite trailer and all that kind of stuff. See, I don't really watch them anymore, like, hardly ever, because I always feel like I don't really want to see stuff until it's, like, fully baked, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, plus they're so rarely representative these days.
Yeah.
Which is fine, that's just marketing people doing their jobs, but...
man, we sound so old.
I was going to say, like, I used to say film trailers. I used to love film trailers. I was like, they got me so excited. But now, like the classic old man I am, I'm like, I don't want to watch it because it'll ruin so many scenes. When I'm watching a film, I'm like, well, I know there's a scene where someone bursts out of a building and someone gets shot because I've seen it in the trailer. So, yeah, I for a film and also a game, like these things, like 20-second or half a minute teaser trailer. That's all I need. That's all I need for it.
Hold on, you used to slate that. You used to have a go at that, like when they were showing off Destiny. You were like, I want to know what all the systems are.
Yeah, some games are different because I'm already like, oh, what's going to happen? It's Destiny. It's like, but those games are like quite. I want to know how the gameplay is different and features and stuff. But these are narrative games and films, of course, as well. I don't want to know anything about scenes. So it's different comparison, Dave.
All right, absolute scenes. Right, let's go.
And that's it. That's all the news. Yeah.
Okay, straight on to what we've been playing then. Sean, what do you think of Yakuza? Let's get to it. Let's get straight to it.
So, the other night, I was like, do you know what? I had my typical sort of 2-3 hours to myself in the evening after the kids gone to bed and everything, and I thought, do I want to watch a film or do I want to play a game? I can't decide. I know. I'll play Yakuza 0. And I'm into it. I'm all right now. I think I've found a rhythm with it. No, like bad second impression in that I loaded it up and discovered that the game has no autosave.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's pretty unforgivable. So that sort of 30-40 minutes I'd already played. I had to redo that. However, because it was mostly cutscenes and you can skip them all, it only took me about 5 minutes to get back to where I was. So that was something.
Exactly the same thing happened to me. I loaded it up. I was like, for fuck's sake, and then just realised I had to hold X for a little bit.
Yeah, it's all right.
I was back to where I was.
I'm pretty into it. I finished the first chapter, and I'm already like well interested in the story. Like I always I'm not like a fan of sort of Yakuza films or anything. I've not seen any, but I've always been sort of weirdly intrigued by the whole organized crime thing. In that, because I just struggle to get my head around like, oh yeah, we all have we're all a family and we have a code of honor, which we apply to selling drugs and running prostitution rings, and do you know what I mean?
And also, really selectively, when we feel like it, basically.
Sorry, you're not into what do you call it, like mafia stuff?
I've just never. It's just not something I've ever delved into, and I know I should.
Oh, I love it. That's good.
But so it's always something I've just been sort of intrigued by, and this is already an interesting story. I'm enjoying it. Like having obviously no investment in it, because I know a lot of people played Zero after playing all the others, whereas I'm sort of coming into it totally new. And I just love the fact that the story, I'm enjoying the story, and it's I was going to say it's well written. I mean, the sort of the dialogue, sort of moment to moment, fine. But I enjoy the fact that it's this quite intricate story, and again it's sort of within the sort of working within this framework of all the weird sort of rules and stuff that these Yakuza families have to sort of abide by. But then sometimes the answer is oh yeah, but he can just fuck up anyone, and he can just fight entire buildings worth of thugs, and it's fucking wicked. Like that.
Have you got to the stage at all where he rips the shirt off?
Oh no, I haven't.
Okay, because that's fucking...
That sounds tremendous.
Obsessed, James.
And it doesn't fuck about with so by the end of the first chapter, you've beaten the piss out of this one guy who's pretty high up who was trying to fuck you over. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to he's gonna fuck off, and then I'm gonna have to wait until the very end of the game to kick his teeth in. Nope. End of the first chapter, you get to batter him. So yeah, I'm still not in the like sort of right, okay, go do whatever you want bit, and there's still a lot of cutscenes and stuff. But as I say, I was half in the mood for just watching something anyway, which I think really helped. But yeah, I'm into it. And
have you done the mission yet where you have to just walk around to shops buying drinks for people?
No,
you don't have to do that. That's not.
That's on the main quest, James. That's on the main quest. It is. That's how you find out where the guy is that runs the retail, not the retail. What they call him, like the estate agent or whatever.
Okay,
it's not the whatever. That guy. That is part of the main quest. It just goes. I want a whiskey. I want this, and they're in 3 different shops, and you have to go and buy them and bring them all back. Completely pointless.
You've never done anything like that in a game ever, Dave?
Not that tedious.
Oh.
Not that tedious. What do you think of the combat system?
It's so the main, because you get these different combat styles. So the main, is it Brawl, the default one?
Yeah,
does feel a bit stiff, but I'm enjoying the sort of management of the whole heat meter. So like making sure you get a few combos in, and then right now I'm glowing, so I can do like an instant finisher on someone and put their face into a wall or whatever. That's cool. I am struggling. Like I forgot how to block for a while, and just got the shit kicked out of me a few times. But yeah, and then when you unlock the is it Rush, the fast one?
Yeah. That's the fast style. Yeah.
So that's where you don't get those same finishes, but you can like dodge around and you do loads of really quick hits and stuff. So I'm assuming you get 2 more styles, right? Because they're assigned to the D-pad. So yeah, so like I'm enjoying it for what it is for now, and but I'm glad that it presumably gets more complex as time goes on.
It does, yeah. And you see, one of the things that I wanted to talk about from like last week, like talking, hearing you talking about it, is it's like it lays the groundwork with a lot of the characters that it then does take like a long time for that to develop.
Yeah.
But then once you start getting payoffs, they really feel like they mean something.
Yeah.
Because you really do like develop this relationship with some of these, and you care like about what's what's happened to them and what's going on, and that's what makes it much more satisfying. I mean, also like with the combat. It's like because I mean the way they did it in Zero was great because it was like basically money. You can then like unlock like more options and everything for the combat, and you can start to like specialize and stuff, and it becomes a lot more interesting like the longer you play because you just unlock so many different styles and like different. You can like focus on different aspects.
Does the AI of the enemies change? Because that was another thing that I just found so
it's
annoying.
A brawler, Dave. They're not all it is. It's like playing a Streets of Rage game or whatever, where they just keep coming at you. It's not.
Yeah,
they're not going to try and trick you with things
special.
like that.
Like Sean was saying, oh yeah, I forgot how to block for a while. But did that mean that you lost any of those?
I didn't lose any fights, but it was touch and go. But yeah, I suppose. So
for me, it was just like, okay, I'll hammer a button and then they get knocked out eventually, and that was
but
it.
you can.
On. There was no.
But there's loads of games you can play like that if you want to, but that doesn't mean that's not a fun way to play. Like it's still part of this.
A fun way to play.
Well, no, because part of this is trying to figure out like a style that you find enjoyable to play. It's not like you could go and play Street Fighter 2 and just keep hammering the button, like hammering punch. That wouldn't be fun. Whereas, you can try and figure out special moves, you can try and figure out, other ways and like combos and stuff to make it more interesting.
I didn't find a single one of them. I mean, I unlocked all of them, I think. All of them or 3 of them. And I didn't find any of them fun to use. It was just like, okay, on this one I build up a meter and then I press a button and it takes them down instantly. Or on this one I just go running around at insane speeds. And I couldn't get into that. And then the last one, it was like you just pick up. Well, the third one that I remember, maybe I didn't unlock the 4th, but the third one was just picking up things and chucking it about and that. And I was like, this isn't fun either. I did not get on with the combat in that game at all. I couldn't get any enjoyment out of it.
I did defeat one guy by shoving a box of nails in his mouth and then punching him. And defeated another guy by chucking a bowling ball at him. I think that's one thing I'm really enjoying is just the very like mostly the serious, but then occasionally very silly tone of it. Yeah. Like when you first meet the guy who explains how to unlock like your fighting abilities and stuff, and he's like, "Just invest in yourself," and you're like, "What does that mean?" And he just brings up a menu where it's like you spend money to unlock fighting skills, and it's like, "See, like." And it's ludicrous, but but it's just like, guess what? We're not fucking explaining it beyond that. It doesn't matter.
But it's also, I mean, I never got bored of just smashing someone's face into a wall and stuff like that, because it just always looks good.
Yeah.
Every time you do that, and it's just I found that incredibly satisfying.
I've met Mr. Shakedown for the first time.
Oh yeah,
That does that get annoying? It feels like it might get annoying.
You can avoid him.
Okay.
I avoided him
Okay.
all the time.
Okay.
I never did anything with him at all.
Right, fair enough.
Yeah.
So the answer to your question is yes. Yes, it can. When you want to go down an alleyway and he's standing there and you go, oh, God, now I've got to go another way. Brilliant.
Imagine
Graphically,
having to just go around the block. Terrible.
graphically, it's so odd because the environments, although they are they're convincing and it is as a bit of virtual tourism, it is quite nice. But there's sort of noticeable sort of the odd muddy texture and low polygon stuff. But the faces have got the fucking pock marks and little zits and the detail in them is unbelievable. So it's just really weird what they've really spent their time on.
That improves, because I think this was the first time they'd used the new engine, just for the PS4,
right?
And then because Yakuza 6 uses obviously the same thing, and it's vastly improved. That is
okay.
It's it looks even better.
Cool.
It's but I mean, it's sometimes it is a kind of squint, and it's that looks really real actually.
Yeah.
Some of these people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do when I play my games, Matt. I just squint
always looks
like the whole
real.
thing. Is that the real?
Look how rough that boy's skin is.
David, what are you doing? I'm just sort of squinting just to see how real this
Feel the
looks.
realism.
Oh, I know. God, it's like a being there.
So yeah,
It's like a window.
I'm enjoying it. It's good.
Right. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Thank you.
No, you're
I'm
not.
clearly the odd one. I'm clearly the odd one out when it comes to this game. And there's just nothing there that grabbed me at all.
Yeah, I mean,
Nothing.
if it wasn't for the praise for it being so unanimous, and if it wasn't also for the fact that I bought this and Yakuza Kiwami in the same day, just because I'd heard so many good things about them and they're on sale, that first session might have killed it. But I was like, no, I have to crack on with this. So yeah.
I want to see how you continue. Definitely check out some of the side quests and see how you get on with those. But yeah, no, I must admit there's one cutscene coming up that I very much enjoyed, and I thought, whoa, I might be getting into this now, and then it dropped me back into the world, and I was just like, no, I'm done. that was the killer for me.
Right, what else have I got? I mean, I've left No Man's Sky.
Right, James, you all right, James, with that?
Okay.
You okay?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Good. All right. Just make sure.
Balanced opinion. Yeah, not just being
balanced because it agrees with you.
Matt, that's the episode title.
No, there is legit reasons, especially the saving thing is ridiculous. Yeah. But then there are.
This is what made me laugh because we were talking about this on WhatsApp, and James, when we mentioned about the saving thing, James went, "That's a legitimate opinion," and I said, "Well, what about my other opinions?" And you were like, "No."
No, I said that is objectively bad, or everything else you say is opinion, which is true.
Combat is objectively bad, in my opinion. Next.
So I've left No Man's Sky on the list. I've got much new to say about it. I've basically had to stop myself playing it because the amount of time it was taking up was just getting ridiculous, and I was getting nothing else done.
I had a wonderful moment with that game with Harry at the weekend. Yeah, I sort of just said, well, this is, kind of chilled out enough to play in front of him, so I'm kind of happy with this. So I was loaded it up and I was on a planet and I was saying, look, this is a planet. And he was like Earth? Yeah, like Earth. Where's England? No, it's not on. It's a different planet. It's not Earth. It's a different one. And then I got in a spaceship, genuinely got in a spaceship, pointed it to the sky and said, what do you think's above the clouds? And he was like, oh, I don't know, stars. And I was like, should we see if there's stars? And then went above and then looked down and showed him the planet and was explaining planets to him and solar systems and stuff like that. And I don't know if I'd melted his mind or because he was extremely cockney this weekend. After that, this was before we went to the park. I sort of gave him this astronomy lesson in my front room, basically making up answers to questions that I didn't really know the answer to. And then at the weekend, we went to a park, and he walked up to me at one point. I swear this is true, and I've never said this to him before, right? So he hasn't got it from me. He walked up to me in a Millwall hat, an England shirt, with his hands in his pockets, and went, Dad, yeah, mate, I likes what I likes, and then he walked off. Like, it was just that might be the most dad thing I've ever heard in my life. So there's a chance I might have melted his mind by trying to force a science lesson into him at too young of age. But there's a chance that he might now become a genius astronaut. Yeah. So, first man on Mars. So we'll find out. But yeah, no, I went back and played the creative mode, and it was fun enough, but it didn't really sort of convince me to keep playing it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, like I say, I've had to stop because although I enjoy the sort of minute-to-minute faffing around now, and because I've got like efficient enough with like making sure I've always got fuel and stuff, it is still like it just takes so long to like achieve anything in it, and I just like spend an entire evening on it and then have nothing to show for it basically. Other than like taking nice pictures and stuff, really enjoying that. But there's other games me playing that I can feel some small accomplishment within an evening. Speaking of which,
James, you said you've played it a little bit this week.
Yeah, I reinstalled it and download the update and everything. I started a new game because my old one obviously I hadn't touched that for ages. And I started on a planet, and it was a toxic planet, and I started dying immediately. And I just was like, I'm not into this, and stopped.
That appears to be a forced thing now. So it used to be, like, when the game first came out, everyone's like, I started and I was on, like, a fucking fire planet or whatever. And it was just like, well, that's just the odds are. Like, most planets have...
Born into fire.
Yeah, most planets have something wrong with them, whereas now it looks like there is, like, you always start on a planet with some sort of environmental hazard.
Yeah, because it's teaching you systems, isn't it? But it's maybe if you're not into that or don't want to be suddenly... thrust into that world where you have to suddenly find the various bits of carbon or whatever. Then
it's a lot to deal with immediately, especially when you're just trying to figure out like how to get your ship off the ground and stuff. So yeah, bit of a weird decision.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't want to be this stressed at the start of the game. So it's like,
and it's like it's not even representative of the way most of the game is, because mostly it is pretty chilled. But yeah, it just gives you a hell of a hurdle at the start.
That seems to be a common complaint with that, even after the next update. It needs a better tutorial.
Yeah, and
it needs a good hour to take you through the systems without it feeling like you're being chucked in the. I mean, certain games that works where you're chucked in the deep end and you've got to work a lot of stuff out or whatever. On this, it feels like there's so much to learn. That if there was a good way of walking us through it, I think that'd be more appreciated. Yeah,
and equally, there needs to be an option to just skip the tutorial as well. For say you've put like 500 hours in on normal mode, and then you're like, do you know what? I want to try survival. You can't just hit the ground running. You've got to do the tutorial again. And it's like, look, I know what I'm doing.
No. Survival mode. Yeah.
So
in creative mode, there's not a tutorial.
Of course,
there's
nothing. Need one. Yeah, I guess
you just launch and then away you go. It's brilliant.
Fair dues.
Do you have to collect any resources in creative mode at all, or just you've got constant boost and?
Yeah, it's a bit weird. Like it does have lists of currencies and what you need, and like it will say. You need such and such and such and such to build this, like a warp drive or whatever. And I was like, oh, right, so I've got to go around. But no, if you just click the button, it just ignores what you need to create it and just sticks it in. Like it just creates it for you. So, it's a bit strange, but I don't know, whatever. I mean, it was what I wanted. Yeah. So who opened the can, like, very, very slowly?
That was me. I was trying to... It's impossible to open these things silently.
It really is. Yeah, go
on. Hollow Knight. Holy shit. What a good game.
Yep.
I was
move on, next game.
I was positive about it last week, but yeah, I'm fucking well into it now. Absolutely loving it. The only criticism I've got of it is it does that slightly shit Metroidvania thing where, like, you will just come up against obstacles where it's just like, well, you need another ability to get through here, then, don't you? And like that is pretty common, but like Axiom Verge did quite well at avoiding that feeling. I think like, oh well, I'm just gonna have to come back here in like 10 hours when I get some other ability or whatever. So there's a bit of that, but overall, don't really mind. So I'm like 8 hours in now, which seems insane. I feel like I spent a lot more than that on it, and I feel like I must be approaching the end, but I'm absolutely not. Like, People are saying about 30 hours for the shit ending, and then there's like a proper one, which is like another 10 to 20 hours, something like that. But I'm all right. Like, you know, I'm not playing it obsessively. It's been good as a bit of a slow burn, and that way I don't mind it being as long as it is. The bosses are so fucking clever, man. They do I'm worried about spoiling them. That's which is perhaps all you need to know. Just so many interesting quirks, like in the way they play with the structure of how a boss fight plays out, like fights that you think are over and they're fucking not. And it's just, yeah. And like the world, like I'm quite into the story of it now, such as it is. It seems, you know, it's pretty typical, like, guess what, everyone died, and like there's this ruined city, but it's just a bit, like, it's just quite, like, the writing's pretty good. It's just sort of evocative enough without being pretentious and stupid, considering all the characters are just like little insects. Like, it's just, yeah, like when you get to the City of Tears, James, was that like a moment for you? Because it was for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just absolutely beautiful. The way they've done... So basically, this isn't spoiling it because you have to really see it to get your head around it anyway, but you're in this city that's in this giant underground cavern, and basically it's sort of implied there's like a lake above it, so it's constantly like raining sort of into this cavern. But you go between being like indoors and outdoors, and there's just these really nice bits where you'll come up against like a pane of glass and you can see like the rain hitting it, and so it's just so nicely done. What else? I mean,
that was one of the things I wanted to talk about, because when I listened to you talking about it last week, it was like you were saying like how, you know, it all looks the same and all that kind of thing, but see, I don't think it does, because I think the more you explore, there are, like, especially, I mean, you've got to the crystal caverns and stuff.
Yes, just finished that. Yeah.
And it really, I think there is quite a lot of diversity really in how it looks, but there is always that kind of like grimy sort of like darkness to everything, which is just, I mean, that's the style.
Yeah, like I think my sort of, like, last week I was like basically sort of hoping that there would be some daylight at some point, but now it's abundantly clear that's not going to happen, and that's kind of the point. Like I think I'm just sort of more into the general tone of it now. Like I do still feel a bit like, you know, different areas are basically just like, this one is green and this one is blue and this, do you know what I mean? This one's purple. But yeah, I think especially like when you really get like the sound design's beautiful, like the soundtrack's amazing as well. Yeah. It's like if you're playing it on the Switch, definitely headphones if you can, if you're playing in handheld mode. Like really beautifully done. I think that's all I've got to say about it. I fucking love it. Really good.
Good.
Also been playing, I think it's Faeria, Faeria, Faeria.
What's that one?
What's that? What?
What's that one?
That is on PC. Now, controversially, so it's like a collectible card game, but obviously a digital one. Where you have a deck and you have battles with people, and I much prefer to play these on my phone. Like that's the only reason that I've played so much Hearthstone. Like I've barely played it on the PC. Like it's all about playing it on my phone or tablet. So when I heard about this, I was like, started playing it on the PC and really enjoying it. I was like, fuck, is this available for Android? It was and isn't anymore. So there was an Android and iOS version, and they pulled it, saying they wanted to focus on the core PC audience, which is it's one of those things that, like, obviously they're looking at information that I don't have, but to me that sounds insane because that's how I enjoy playing these games, is like being able to play them on the phone.
But could it be a Play Store issue?
I don't think so. I don't see why it would be. I mean, I guess, but then on Steam they'd be paying a percentage to.
That's true.
To Valve
so
anyway.
Weird. These sort of things seem perfect for, you know, something you can spend 5-10 minutes playing on the bus or train or.
Yeah, so like it's great, but I don't know realistically how often I'm going to be like, I'm going to sit down at my desk and play this. But basically, yeah. So it's a turn-based card game, but the hook of it is it's on like it plays out on like a hexagonal grid. and you place, when you summon units, you place them on the grid, but each turn you build lands. So it's kind of takes a bit from Magic the Gathering, where your lands are like sort of this energy that you use to summon, but also you have just like a mana pool, which is like Hearthstone, where like every turn you just have an amount of mana that you then spend on your spells and summoning units and stuff. So it's like this weird sort of mishmash of the two. So you'll when you're placing lands, you can, like, every turn you can either place 2 plain ones which do nothing other than like expand your territory a bit, or you can place like a forest or a desert or whatever, and then you'll have cards that have like a mana cost, but then also like you'll need 2 forests, for example, to summon this one card. So it's pretty interesting because you then build your deck accordingly, and you're like, right, well, I can either go pure forest or pure desert, or whatever, or a mix of that, which is same as you do with Magic the Gathering. But it's that element of like you've got to sort of figure out the way your territory is expanding at the same time, because you can only summon your guys like on tiles that you created. So it's all about you and your opponent sort of figuring out your routes through the map as you go, and then sort of it's just cool. I really like it. It's just a shame it is Steam only, and usually with games like this, it's like, oh yeah, we're working on Android version. We'll let you know. So that's something you can hope for. Whereas with this, it's like, no, they had one and then they fucking binned it. So that's definitely not happening. So I mean, yeah, I'm gonna keep playing it. It's just like I say, it's just definitely not gonna get the time it would have otherwise if I could play it on my phone.
That's such a shame. I mean, now I basically look and say what games are on handheld like Switch, because I know and also phone, because I'm going to get the most amount of time to play them.
Yeah. So
it's a shame, but it does sound like a good game. I've never actually played any collectible card games ever.
They're good, man, and there's like most of them are free to play as well, so they're well easy to get into. Like Hearthstone is brilliant. I fucking despise the whole sort of World of Warcraft aesthetic. Like every card has like a funny voice clip that plays when you put it down, and surprise, none of them are that funny. Whereas like Faeria is like, it's fucking beautiful. The art style's amazing. It doesn't have this sort of forced sense of humor or anything. It's like there's bits of dialogue and stuff, but they're fine. But looks a hell of a lot nicer than Hearthstone does. But yeah, if you're ever intrigued, like, give Hearthstone a go. Yeah. But
I did download it once, but I started it and I thought this was like a lot to get my head around.
Yeah. I think I can't remember when they added it. I think there is like a whole new sort of tutorial system they added that like gives you a load of free shit for doing it as well. So maybe worth a go.
Cool.
Yeah, that's me.
That's you. That's you sorted.
Yeah, mate.
James Farley, you weren't here last week, so that's what you've been playing.
I've had quite a lot of stuff, actually, kind of. Although there's a few things which are just sort of quick things that I've not really played much of.
Right, blitz through the quick things. Go.
All right, well, I got Lego City Undercover. I started playing over the weekend because that was on sale.
Is that any good?
That's what I always ask when this comes up.
Because I've heard the loading times are absolutely appalling.
Yeah, there's a couple of problems. There's technical problems with it. So the loading is awful. Like on Switch, it's like it takes ages to load. Like, I mean, I think it's like several minutes. It kind of feels like, which is quite a long time. But the worst thing about it, which I'm quite disappointed about, is that because I was trying to play it in co-op, like with my son, and the frame rate is awful, like really, 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 like terrible, like really terrible, awful. And yeah, it's
really terrible. Awful.
Yeah, I mean, to the point where it's almost like unplayable. Like, it's really not good.
Jesus.
It's really, really terrible.
Man, you should get Lego The Incredibles then. That's the one to get. Because the thing that interests me about Lego City Undercover was the open world stuff.
Yeah, which is interesting. I mean, I haven't played it that much yet, but I mean, it is. I mean, like a lot of people said, it's like funny and that kind of thing, and it is. It is like amusing. It's pretty good. Like better than I had expected. Like going into like a Lego game, but I'm just a bit disappointed with the technical side of it because it's
especially with this being I mean, it's not a remake, it's a port, isn't it? But the point is, it's like a lot of time had passed since it first came out, and you would think they would use that to have polished it up a bit. Mm-hmm. But that's because this.
I really want them to do a Lego Back to the Future.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, because I know that they did a bit of that for Lego Dimensions, but like to do a proper full-on Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3. I think of the levels they could do based on those films. It'd just be so good.
Yeah, definitely.
So I played that. I mean, the other thing I played is Pool Panic.
Oh yeah, what's that like?
I really want to play this.
I mean, this is another game that I've not played a huge amount of. Mm-hmm. So this is like just sort of preliminary sort of thoughts, because I mean, because I'm still stuck into Hollow Knight, so it's it's kind of difficult to sort of tear myself away from that. Even though, I mean, I'm 20 hours into that, but I'm kind of stuck at the moment and sort of exploring because I can't get past what I need to get past. So I've played this a couple of times. I mean, I'm not really sure what to make of it because I do like it. The art style is fantastic. I'm just really bad at it, is the problem. I'm really, really like sort of terrible at it, and I'm never entirely sure like if what I'm doing is right. As in, like I can finish tables in inverted commas, but I'm not sure what the bonus is for like finishing stuff within like the time limit and like under number of balls like potted and stuff.
So explain what Pool Panic is like. What are you doing as you're going around? Because is it open world? Is it like? What are you actually doing as you're travelling about the place? Because the idea is that it's nothing like pool. You're actually controlling you're walking around as a pool ball, aren't you? And then you're getting into all sorts of mischief. Yeah,
I mean, so you are the cue ball, and you basically just go to like different. It's a overview map, and then you go to certain points where there's like a mission, basically, or like like a table, and each of the tables is kind of is different, like the way it's sort of laid out. But also the balls that you've got to pot, they've all got different like attributes. Like the red balls, they're easy, you can just knock them in. But then what is really funny is you get like other balls which are like don't want to be potted and will like dodge out of the way like at the last second when you're just about to hit one. So you have to like figure out ways that you can sort of like ricochet off other balls to try and knock them in like instead. But then also you get stages where, I mean, there was on one which is like really early on where it's like a campsite, and two of the balls are stuck up trees and they're just like there, and you're like, well, how am I supposed to like pot them? And then I figured out eventually that there's a barbecue there, so you have to like ram into the barbecue, so then like the meat falls off it, and then there's like a dinner bell rings and then they come down the tree and then you have to like try and like sort of pot them when you do that. So there's like loads of stuff like that, which is it's funny. I mean, it's really like sort of well put together. The music is horrendous. I mean, I switched that off as soon as possible because it's really bad, like really, really terrible music. But it's, I mean, the main problem I got with it, as I said, is I'm terrible at it, and I think David, I think you'd really like this actually, because you're pretty good at like pool games and stuff, yeah.
I'm pretty good at computer games. Yeah, I got them down. I mean, I quite like pool games, so I want to play them. It's just getting round to it at this point. It's one of those games that's sort of on my list, and I'll get to it because the humour looks right up my street. The art style looks fucking fantastic, I mean, it's pool, so I'm into that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I'm terrible at it, but I am enjoying what I'm playing, and there doesn't seem to be like any massive penalty for completing tables without doing it in like the right amount of time and stuff like that. So I'm just happy to just go from one to the next and then just see what next ridiculous situation is going to be.
To the next? Is it just here's a table?
No,
it looks like you're walking around a town.
Yeah, there's like a world map, and then you sort of just go from place to place, and then just find what the next one. Like you press, I think on the Switch you press like A, and then it like highlights where there are like areas that you can go to, and it does seem that like you have to finish like a certain number before you can get through to the next area. But it's just funny trying to see what the next sort of weird take is going to be. And yeah, when they start dodging out of the way, that's really irritating, but funny as well, because the noise, like the sound design is really good as well with that. I mean, the music is awful, but the sound effects are good. It's
good. I'm all over that one. Well, when I get it, I'm going to be all over that. But yeah, sure.
So
okay, Pool Panic.
It's definitely worth playing. It's only like a tenner. It's definitely worth a look, like on Switch. The other thing I played, I mean, as I said, I'm still playing Hollow Knight, but then also the main thing I played the week before when I was going to come on was the Council, like episode 3. So this is the like adventure, like RPG style game that I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks whenever they release a new episode. I know, Sean, you've got this, but you've not played it yet.
I know, I'm behind now. Yeah.
So I've got really mixed feelings about this episode.
Really?
Because, well, the thing that I really liked about the game from the start is the way that you could like shape your character in any way that you wanted to, really, and then you could like approach the game. You could approach like different situations depending on what sort of abilities you wanted to focus on. But with this, it's really beginning to feel like it's narrowing its focus with this episode, and I don't like that. Like, one, because the episode starts off with a conference, like you're having this sort of huge conference you're supposed to be like taking part in, like, you know, like not huge as in loads of people, but in sort of like in significance for like how the world may develop. And I thought, great, this is where all the points I put into like diplomacy and politics are going to like really pay off. Like, I'm going to be able to like do like really good oratory and like, you know, have good discussion. But it doesn't really happen because it's all over really quickly, and then there's like a shift in focus, which is like this. Obviously, is like a dramatic event, and it's like, I see, this just makes me sound boring because I just wanted to sit in a meeting and discuss stuff, but then they do things that are more exciting. But I wanted to sit in a meeting and discuss stuff because it was interesting, but you can't do that. But they've still got. I mean, the exploration of the mansion's still like interesting, and there's all like the secret. I mean, the best thing about it still is the way that you can like explore this mansion and then like find secrets about other people and then use them in conversations to like manipulate them. Still enjoying that. That's still great. But I mean, it's generally I still feel it's well plotted, but then the direction it's going in, and I can't say what that direction is because it will ruin like, you know, any sort of suspense, whatever. I'm not mad keen about where it's going.
Okay,
and it's like there's a. Yeah, I better not say any more because it'll ruin it. But it's I'm not that keen on the direction of it. But and also it's continuing to really chug on my Xbox One. Like, as in, again, this is another game with a terrible frame rate. Like, just walking around the mansion, especially in the beginning, it was really sort of like chugging like really badly. And also placeholder audio, which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah?
It's like I you know, like when you like click on books or whatever, and then usually your character will like give like a thing and say, "Oh, this is a Gutenberg Bible," it is whatever. Whereas with this one, like, it was fine, and then I picked up one of them, and it was like a robotic computer voice saying what it was, and it's like clearly that's placeholder audio. So that was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, so I'm near the end of episode 2, and yeah, like it's one of those games that's. You're playing it and it's like, okay, they obviously didn't have the budget that they might have liked for this, and you can sort of forgive that. And in some ways, it's quite charming when a game can be like a little bit creaky. But there was like the Bible puzzle, you know, where you're like looking at all the different verses and there's like clues all around the room and stuff.
That is time consuming.
It's time consuming, yeah. Like for about 2/3 of it, I was like, fuck, I think I get this. This is really smart. And then there was one step that I failed on because the clue was just impossible to interpret as far as I could tell. And I Googled it, and I found a forum where they were like, so I've just said Google and my Google Home's lighting up, so it's probably going, sorry, I didn't understand that in a second.
Sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't understand.
Fuck off.
That's just most of our listeners. Just chiming in there.
And I found this forum thread where basically someone was like, no, I'm fluent in French and I played it in the original French and checked the English translation. Yeah, the translation's just fucked, so the clue doesn't work anymore. Yeah. So there's no real way of sussing it out.
There's that also with this one, because I saw like there was a tweet about this where somebody had posted a screenshot like a video thing where one of the characters says you need to collect like 5 things, but then in the subtitles it says you need to collect 6 things.
Oh, good.
You know, there's like it's like there's things like that, you know, that happen which are a bit annoying.
So,
and the ending in.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, like I say, the odd bit of wonkiness you can forgive, but when it's like really crucial puzzle stuff, you really can't fuck around with that, can you? Because that just gets really frustrating. So,
see, I mean, and the ending with this one I felt was particularly abrupt. Like, it just sort of suddenly, like, you feel that it is building to something, but then it's suddenly over, and it is that kind of like, what? Okay,
right.
That's that then, and then that's it. I mean, there's still another 2 episodes to go. I mean, I am still really enjoying it. It still is really interesting and fun to play, but I'm just. I mean, probably because it is a small team maybe that are making it, and it still feels like they built this whole systems of like, you know, how you can develop different characters in different ways, but then you can't. Obviously, it hasn't got the range of like directions that you can really go to make that truly satisfying.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah.
But then that's and the direction the story is going is not probably where would want it to go. But that's probably maybe that's my problem. But it's still really worth playing. I mean, compared with other adventure games that have come out recently, this is definitely one to watch that is interesting.
Yeah, I think like the sheer uniqueness of the setting is a lot. Like, you know, that really sells sells it to a lot of people.
I wanted to talk to Napoleon like during the thing, and he wouldn't let me.
Oh God!
Okay.
I think that could be the episode title.
That's enough. Yeah. That's enough now. Anything else?
Well, also, I finished The Last of Us as well.
You finished it?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. What did you think?
Absolutely loved it. And I dived straight into the DLC, like straight into that, because I want to see what goes on next. I mean, the ending for the game left me with like a bunch of questions, but I thought it was really well done.
Did you see what I was saying?
I don't remember what you were saying.
About how it just ends on a look, and that is more than most games have. Like to have the balls to end on that final look is just fantastic, and for it to totally pay off. I mean, the final level, I wasn't.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything before you finish it, but the final level, it suddenly sort of reverts to other Uncharted style gameplay, which I felt was a bit disappointing. But apart from that, I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, you can't really stealth it, can you? It's like
no,
kind
it just
impossible.
goes into like, okay, just do the thing you're used to doing in other games like this. So I thought that was a little bit disappointing. I felt like they sort of maybe they felt like they had to have something like that to have a bit of a crescendo, but I don't know.
I feel like Naughty Dog always struggle with final acts. Like, don't like all the Uncharted games have like a weird bit at the end that doesn't quite.
No, the fourth one doesn't.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it was getting ridiculous. Where it was just like, this is the supernatural bit at the end. Like it was just what the men are blue now and they can fire flames at you from a distance. That stuff was a bit weird. But
can I ask a question? Right, at the end when you go into that hospital room. Do you have? Because I pretty much murdered everybody in there. Do you have to do that?
Yeah, you know when you walk through the room and he shoots the thing, it felt like it was a choice, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It felt like it was leading up to a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe at one point in development it was, but then they thought, well, no, we've got to do, because it feels like you either save the world but sacrifice Ellie, or you save Ellie and the world goes to. She continues to go to shit. Millions of people die. That feels like an ultimate choice at the end of a game. But then someone must have gone, I think this might get a sequel. So can we not? Can we not do that, please?
Well, no, they could have just done the David Cage thing, just let you make that choice anyway, and just make it meaningless. You know, it's the,
But yeah, it was really funny. I got a text from James in the week that just said, "Oh, I wish I didn't know about the giraffes."
The thing is, I've been waiting for that for like the entire game, and then it like happened. And I think if I hadn't have known about it, I probably would have been more sort of like emotionally involved in it. Oh God,
it's completely heart wrenching because you see Ellie go up and she's like, "Oh my God, look!" And then like, "What's up there? What are you doing? What's going on?" And you're thinking, "Oh, maybe she can see, like a community or something like that." And then when you finally get up there and see a giraffe, you're like, "Whoa, this is totally not what I expected," and it's really powerful.
Unfortunately, it was what I was expecting, so it was. It was not.
Well, sorry, mate. You will play these games fucking ages after they come out. You know what I mean?
What can you do? I know it's just such a well-told story. I thought, like, I really think that, like, by the end of it, I was.
Did you like the boss fight with the dude in the house?
Yes, that was also
I thought that was one of the best bits.
Yeah, because that was proper tense as well. Like, it was horrible because I got caught so many times as well, and it was just like horrible every time. But yeah, that was really.
The bit that shit me up was a bit in the hotel where you're fighting around like the elevator shaft. Oh God, I hated that bit. Hated it.
I don't remember that.
But yeah, I'm enjoying the DLC now. Anyway, it's a different. It feels a bit different, but it's it's.
I've got to play that. I've got to play it at some point before Uncharted 2 comes out. Not Uncharted, The Last of Us 2 comes out. I've got to play that.
See, also now, like, do you remember there was that original Last of Us 2 trailer that was like it was Ellie and Joel.
Yeah.
They showed, and now I can really see now, Matt, why you were excited by seeing that because. Because they were like playing, he was like playing music for it, wasn't he, or something like that? And it's like,
but
that's
even
got more
trailers,
resonance now.
What are you really seeing? What are you not seeing? And there's loads of theories and rumors about that. Yeah, Last of Us 2, I'm beyond excited. I'm more excited than that for that than I am like Red Dead 2.
Oh, fuck off.
Well, no.
Right, the Red Dead 2.
Obviously, Red Dead 2 is going to be insane, but yeah, Last of Us 2, emotionally, that's got me more than Red Dead 2.
The thing is, though, I'm really torn whether to get Red Dead 2 on the PS4 Pro or my original Xbox One. Now, you'd go, haha, what, you an idiot? You might as well get it on the Pro because it will look better. True, but oh my god, that thing is loud. Do you know what I mean? It's just
put headphones
No Man's
on.
Sky. It's
That's what I do.
ridiculous. It's just like, oh, for fuck's sake! I just want to play a game without the Hoover not being on. It's what it reminds me of when I was a kid in my bedroom and Mum would come in with a Hoover, and I'm just like, you had to pause and let it finish. But the bad thing here is that you can't do that because it's just whatever.
Just play with headphones on. That's what I do. You don't notice
You
it.
shouldn't have to, though, should you?
No.
No, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't. Yeah, no. I mean, Last of Us is a El Clasico.
It's really it's so good. It's easily, I think, the best like Naughty Dog game I've played. Like, I really think that.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
it's probably the best Naughty Dog game. Yeah.
You need to go back and watch like some of the E3 stuff now around the second one.
Yeah, I think
put it
it
in
probably would
context.
have more of a impact now. But the only other game I played like really briefly was Gears 4. I started playing that at the end of last week. And,
Is it any good?
It's Gears, and I mean that in a good and a bad way. In that it really just feels like it's just more of the same. Like really, really feels like it's just more of the same, and that I don't think that that's necessarily a good thing. Like considering Microsoft's got this whole thing with like not having great exclusives and everything, and I can see why this didn't do amazingly well because it really is just more of the same. But then also it's still fun. I mean, I was playing it co-op, and it's always fun to like do to play games like that co-op. But I wasn't blown away by it at all. I mean, it looked fine, but then it's like I've only got the original Xbox anyway, so it doesn't look that amazing on there. But I know I'm going to be playing it over the next couple of weeks anyway, I think so.
Are you
See
playing
if it
that
gets
co-op?
any better. Yeah. But it's just, I don't know, it really is just more of the same. Like, it really feels like that. I mean, maybe there's going to be, like, big revelations and twists or whatever, but you can kind of see... I was thinking about this the other day, because it's like, do you remember the end of, like, the PS3 era? You got, like, on the PS3, you got stuff like Last of Us, and then on Xbox you were getting... I mean, that's, like, you can start to see the shift there of, like, like, they were, like, chucking out stuff like The Last of Us, and then we were getting, like, more, like, Gears games, which were pretty much identical each one. It was... Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, really.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it, is it?
Yeah.
Matt, your turn to shine.
So I've only really been playing one game, and it's a 2-hour game. As I've been playing Abzu, which I got from the Xbox Game Pass.
I need to play this. Everyone says the sort of tagline is its journey in the water.
Yeah, that's certainly what I've been told, and I love Journey. It's an all-timer. I think Abzu sort of falls short, really.
Yeah.
So you played it, have you, Sean?
I have.
Oh, nice. Okay. So firstly, that's what everyone says. It's just Journey in the water, and from the offset, it really feels like that. It's got quite an abstract story. You're this diver character, and then suddenly you're under the water, and you're basically flying through different locations with schools of fish and whatnot. Story wise, it's very, very light, and the story itself, I haven't finished it. It's so incredibly abstract that even after reading some like story theories on the ending afterwards, I sort of feel like a lot of people. I mean, this is probably an unpopular opinion, but it feels like a lot of people are seeing lots of things that may not necessarily be there, or they're really, really looking deeply into things. I'm like, well, it was quite abstract. I can see, I guess, where your views and theories could be going, but throughout the whole thing, there are hieroglyphs, in between like some levels where it sort of is trying to visually show you what happened or what's happening in story. But even those are quite abstract.
So you're basically just like, what do you do? Like uncover a hidden.
So in terms of like gameplay and mechanics, it's super light. It makes Rhyme look like a really in-depth puzzler. Essentially, you go from like these various underwater locations to next. You have like one method of input, which is this sort of sonar ping, which you can press like X or whatever is on the pad, and you can do that to like light up fish or to communicate with these other little like robot things that follow you around, and those can help you unlock doors. But essentially, you're just going from one location to the other. In terms of puzzles, there are ultra basic puzzles where you might have to find a key, or you might have to find where you basically have to find where these like chains are called up, and you literally just press a button next to them, and they open like one half of a door, find the other half, and this other door's open, and you basically just fly from one level to the next. There's very, very little in terms of mechanically what you do. I mean, Journey didn't have a lot to do mechanically, but that felt so much more in depth than this did, which I think it felt like an issue in many ways. I mean, the game's got an amazing score, and actually I looked through it after. It's actually the same person who did the music for Journey. Yeah. I think it's actually also the same game director as well. So it looks and feels a lot like it, and obviously because the same people are working on it. But the score is absolutely beautiful. It's really epic at points. It like the score is probably the most emotional part of the game, and I was really sort of expecting or thinking it would be quite an emotional game, given a lot of people compared it to Journey, and it's that sort of abstract gameplay where you're trying to work out what's happening, and the music's getting more and more epic. But ultimately, for me, the music what was the most emotional part of the game. So it's very little mechanically. There is one part where it's clear that you're say connected to this shark character, but even that doesn't really do much emotionally. It doesn't really elevate it in the way I'd hoped. In terms of underwater bits, it's quite chill, but there are these like amazing bits where you go through huge schools of fish, and also in these like larger underwater areas, you can actually like also press a button and meditate, where you basically can look around the area, you can listen to the music. I did that a couple of times, but that
sounds a bit boring.
It's a little bit boring, yeah. But yeah.
Does it do that thing that Sean absolutely hates, where there's suddenly a bit where you can get killed?
No, I mean basically there is only one real enemy in the game, and that's towards the end. There's these like mine things, and when you get hit by them, you don't die. It's just a bit of a minor inconvenience, and it's still a bit.
It's still sort of got. So
was that not intended?
Yeah, it's still that sort of like, oh, here's a sort of nasty bit. And it's sort of
it was a bit. It does sort of change slightly, but even that, it's just there's just nothing really going on mechanically, and there's not enough. I mean, I don't want games where I'm suddenly there's an enemy to deal with and I'm going to get killed, but there's just nothing really going on at all mechanically.
It's
in the game.
Like it mirrors Journey so closely that it's like borderline parody at times. Like the general structure of it is like almost identical, but I really
did your flip flops get like your flippers get like
longer,
slightly longer?
That is literally a thing. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But people said, it's like Journey underwater, but I know a lot of people like it, and I think this game reviewed well, and it's a nice game, and for like 2 hours of gameplay, and if that's on Game Pass, I recommend it if you've got Game Pass, definitely. But I don't know, it's like it's a copy, but it doesn't have any of the emotional impact or anything that made Journey so special. It's not a special game. It's I enjoyed it. It's a nice little 2 hours. I liked it. It's underwater, and there's some really incredible visuals at points. There's sections in between levels where you're sort of speeding through these currents, and then you're seeing these amazing locations, huge schools of fish, and whatnot, and the music really ramps up in those sections. But that you just literally just holding down X and just going forward essentially. Yeah. But it tries to do things like Journey, but it just doesn't have that base level of emotion that I felt like elevated Journey.
It's like you say, the story, such as it is, just felt like my interpretation of it was just like a really basic, like there was an ancient race here, and then they discovered some weird power source and they misused it and it killed them all. It's like, oh right, okay. I didn't really get anything from it beyond that.
I mean, that's basically what I took from the story and from like the visuals you see. But then I looked on Reddit and people were saying, "Oh, it's about like man's relationship with the environment and polluting the environment and what that does to future generations." It's like, okay, I mean, I can see maybe as a stretch, but I mean, fundamentally, I wasn't disappointed, but it's in no way anything like Journey in terms of what it does to you. I mean, it didn't do anything for me.
It's like it's enjoyable, but you don't take anything away from it, do you? You don't like Journey. I found myself like thinking about it on and off, like for a long time since I played it.
Journey is a special experience for sure. This does almost everything the Journey does, but it doesn't quite hit it in terms of any of it really. I mean, musically, arguably is the best bit about it, and it's really epic, really emotional. But that's probably the standout element of the game. Yeah, if you've got Game Pass, I'd definitely recommend it. It's like 2 hours, it's a nice little experience. But other than that, I was a bit disappointed in that it doesn't do what Journey did for me personally. But yeah.
Okay.
But I played obviously, and I've played Fortnite, and I played Rocket League with you, Dave, and I started Detroit tonight. A guy from work lent me Detroit, so I'm excited to get through that. I've already done the first mission, but I'm enjoying it so far. I think it looks great.
Yeah, no, that first mission's alright. Played the rest.
I'm gonna. So, but obviously, Fortnite, Rocket League, and played it with you, didn't I, Dave?
Yeah, it's funny because, like we say, I mean, I don't always list out all the games that I play during the week because otherwise every week I'd be talking about Rocket League again. But I have been hammering it. Rocket League, I've been hammering for the past 2 weeks. And it just, amazing moments again. Like, I tweeted that I went 2-0 down against, I went 1-0 down against someone and my teammate quit, called me a noob teammate and then left like they always fucking do. And then I beat I won 2-1 against 2 players, and that no better feeling. And then we had some 4-player games, some 3-player games, and oh my god, it's just, especially playing with friends, it's just so much fun. And we're always improving just a little bit. So sort of my group of mates now are getting pretty decent at it. I wouldn't say anywhere near as good as we should be for the amount of hours that we put into it, but my word, I just continues to be one of the best games I've played. It's like probably my game of the generation so far. It's too good. And also played Fortnite, which seemed fun, but I'm still not 100% on board with it. I still enjoy the journey more on PUBG, even though PUBG now is essentially a chat room for 45 minutes, then we get shot in the back of the head. As frustrating as that is, the whole build up to that, I enjoy, but a lot of my friends.
But you must appreciate the fact that you can get in at games in 10 minutes in Fortnite.
Yeah, but also it just feels like, I mean, when we played it the other night, we landed 3 times and got shot straight away, and it was kind of like, okay, at least, all right, you're not achieving anything in PUBG, but at least for 45 minutes you're building an inventory for a bit. And then you get shot in the back of the head. This one, it's like you land dead. It's like, okay. But we did get a Victory Royale at the weekend, so that was pretty good. That was your first one for a while, wasn't it?
Yeah, for a long time.
For a long time. Yeah, it was good. But the main game I've been playing this week is on the Nintendo Switch, and it's got a bit of a strange title. State of Anarchy, Agents of Mayhem. Which is just, I don't know. I mean, okay, if that's what you want to call your game, fair enough. It's a twin-stick shooter. I'm playing on Nintendo Switch. I think it's available on PC as well. And it's got a hook, but it isn't enough to make a game out of. So the hook is that everything's hand-drawn. It's all doodles. And all of the sound effects are made by voice. So when you're shooting a gun, it's going...
Right.
And, ow, and cars go brum, 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 all that sort of stuff. And it's funny for about 5 minutes, but it doesn't go anywhere with it. It's like, okay, I kind of like this art style. It looks fun, but it doesn't do anything clever with that. It's like, no, that's it. That's the idea we had, and there you go. There it is. It's not like all of a sudden, the paper starts burning and that burns holes, and there's not layers to the idea. It's just, that's the idea, and that's what we're making of it. And it's really, the formula behind what you're doing is very, very samey. It's very repetitive. It's travel around this open worldy bit, make your way to a bank, fight a guy in a turret, and then it will chuck an odd mission in now and again, like UFOs to fight. But it just feels very, very strange. It also has this really weird thing where, so how twin stick shooters work. You left stick you're moving around, right stick you're aiming, which you do in this, but the gun doesn't fire unless either you press a button or there's an enemy close by. Oh. So it kind of I'm not comfortable with when I'm firing and when I'm not. So it kind of just makes me feel a bit weird. Like, it feels weird to play. Like, not that it's a a design choice, but more that it's buggy. That's what it feels like, and it's not buggy because I can see the rules of when I'm firing and when I'm not, but it doesn't feel right as you're playing it, and it doesn't really go anywhere. Like, I mean, you can build on your character, you get unlocks and you get perks and new weapons from killing bosses and stuff like that, but I've not got to the point where I'm finding it that challenging, and I'm sure it will do because it has ramped up a bit in the recent levels that I've done. But B, there's not enough drive to go back to it because there's not enough to it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I've played for probably 2 or 3 hours, and it feels like not only have I seen everything, which I clearly haven't because there's still stuff that I need to unlock, but I'm repeating stuff that I've done already like 3 times. And I'm going, this needs to... The novelty of it being hand-drawn and voice sound effects, that's totally worn off now. And now it just feels like I'm playing a very, very, very average twin-stick shooter.
That's a shame, yeah, because the art style is really great, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great. But then I've seen comments on YouTube videos and stuff that saying, this looks like it should be a browser game, and it's hard to argue against that because there's not enough under the hood to make it feel like it should be a full console release game. And it's not a full console release game, it's an indie title. I'm really, like, I've played a lot of very, very good twin stick shooters, and this isn't that, you know what I mean? And it's one of those genres where if you fall from it, like if you fall below the bar, then it's kind of meaningless. It's like racing games. I've said it a million times before. Like, there's nothing worse than an average racing game because it's like, why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just going around a track. Twin stick shooters are a lot like that as well because it's kind of like an average twin stick shooter. I'm like, I could be playing a really, really good twin stick shooter.
Yeah,
right
just
now.
when there are so
This
many
isn't offering me
readily
enough,
accessible examples of things being done better, you're just like,
Yeah, like I'd love Next Machina on the Switch. I think it would work perfectly.
Do you think
it's
the sticks
still
are
good
good
to
enough?
play, and it's one of the best games. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I've got no concerns about that whatsoever. I think shoulder buttons are not quite good enough in handheld mode if it's a shoulder button heavy game. But obviously this isn't that. I think the sticks are perfect for because the bad thing about the sticks on the Switch, like if you're playing in handheld mode, is travel distance, especially when playing like first-person shooters, because there's not a lot of variation between fully pressing forward and slightly pressing forward. There's not enough movement there. But twin stick shooters, you're usually holding it right to the very edge anyway. So yeah, it works. That would work. That'd be fine. This one though, you'd have to be really, really into your twin stick shooters, or really like the concept of a completely doodled game with voice sound effects to sort of be interested in this, because other than that there doesn't really seem to be not much there to sort of pique your interest. But yeah,
Shame.
So that's it. That's what we've got. Should we do some questions and get out of it?
Yeah, might as well. Right, emails. If you want to send us an email, you can do so at thecomputergameshow@gmail.com. Oliver Wiseman, he's done that. He says, hi guys. This is a question for the show.
Hi mate.
Question for the show. Recently bought a Nintendo Switch and was wondering if you could recommend any decent story-based games for it. I like games like God of War, The Last of Us, etc., but I'm finding stuff like that lacking a bit on the Switch. I did try, he says Octopus Traveler, Octopath Traveler, but prefer real-time combat. Is it worth sticking with for the story?
No, he played the Japanese rip-off version in the eShop, Octopus Traveler, where he was just controlling an octopus around a place, etc. I saw this email when it came in, and I was like, "What? Oh, God, yeah, like Breath of the Wild, man. What are you talking about?" And then thinking about it, it's not really, the story's not really front and center in that, and it's not really any, like, it's not mind blowing. It's serviceable for that game.
Like that sort of.
I'm not slagging the game off. It's one of the best games ever made, but it's not really the main part of that game.
Yeah, like the whole sort of God of War, Last of Us thing is like a very Sony identity, isn't it? It's
yeah,
The only example that I could come up with, and it's not even it's like a Switch exclusive game, is like Wolfenstein 2 is out on Switch, isn't it? So that would be a good shout if you've not played that.
See,
it's a very, very good narrative-driven game.
If I'm thinking like narrative stuff, it's stuff. There are a lot of narrative-driven games on like the eShop and everything, but they're mostly like indie games, and like stuff like Detention and things like that, which I really like. But they're not anywhere near the same sort of thing as like those Sony releases.
No, exactly.
It's not that sort of HBO-esque thing, is it? It's
Have they got IP? Have Nintendo got IP that they do that?
I don't think they have. No, not really.
I mean, Fire Emblem, I guess, but he was saying he didn't like the turn-based stuff. There's like
Metroid, but that's because that is kind of story-based to a degree, but not in a massive. Well, it is, but not in a big way.
Cinematic, I think, is the way that is the word we're for. And Nintendo consoles, they don't really do that stuff.
Well, they used to be. I mean, like if you think like the last time that they really went in for that in a big way was like with the GameCube, because you had stuff like with like Eternal Darkness and stuff as well, which was more like that. But there's not really so much. Definitely on the Switch, there isn't much.
Yeah, sorry, man. If you've got any suggestions, if we're wildly missing something, then
are there any Telltale games out on Switch?
Let us know in the comments below.
Are any of the Telltale games out on Switch?
Yeah. No, but they will be soon. There's the Batman one's out either now or soon.
The Batmans. Yeah, two Batmans. Right, okay.
Lee says, listening to Matt recently speak of completing games and it not being the usual practice reminded me of my past year being very much similar. I can't recall a more successful time in finishing games old and new. It's so sad. Hang on, what? Does that completely contradict the... Whatever. It's so satisfying. And an age of old games.
But basically, he was referring to the fact that I finished Celeste and other games more recently, and he's saying he's doing the same thing.
Okay, all right, I see. In an age of old games and a flow of new ones always coming out, how important is it for us to finish the games we play? I mean,
not necessarily important, is it, Sean? I mean, if you're not enjoying it, don't force yourself to.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, it's an increasingly difficult thing to assess because there are so many games now that don't really have an end. Like when do you complete Fortnite? When there are so many games now where you do have to just choose to be like, Jad, you know what, I'm all right. And to an extent, that bleeds into story-based stuff. Or not even story-based, stuff where there is like a campaign and there is a definite end, but maybe like something like Skyrim, where you can do the main story in like 15 hours, but then there's like another 200-300 hours worth of stuff to do. You've just got to know when to call it a day on that. You can't, unless you're really going to do everything, you have to just make that choice.
When it's a story game, that's how I feel about it. It's like now I've come to sort of, because there's just so much stuff and there's so little time really to like play stuff in depth in the way that I used to when I was like younger. It's like now I'm like, when I play games like God of War and stuff, unless I'm really, really enjoying something, I'm just thinking, the main story is enough for me. Yeah. Like I'm never gonna sit here and just go through every single side mission and stuff like that anymore.
Yeah, which is why
unless it's something that's really grabbing.
I sometimes feel it's a bit of a dick move when games are like, here's an ending, but it's slightly disappointing. Put another 20 hours in to get the real shit, or you can just YouTube it, obviously.
Or just glitch your way to the fucking end.
All that. But I feel like we're at a point where everyone's sort of got to come up with their own definition of what they consider finished and what they don't. And I think, generally speaking, we've got to just be all right with that.
I mean, for at one point, I remember like stepping back saying, I'm playing like, I think at that time, Battlefield 3, I was playing FIFA, and I was playing Destiny. I was like, I'm not actually finishing any of these games. I'm just like playing them every day. And it's much more satisfying when you do start finishing games. And that's why I prefer much shorter games. I do actually finish them. But even like, going back to Celeste to get that finish was really, really rather satisfying. And I want to make sure I do that. I think if you don't, it's very easy to keep on a treadmill of, playing more games of Fortnite or FIFA or, games where you don't really have an ending. You just keep playing indefinitely. And I think at that point I started playing. I can't remember. Basically, I started playing like some of the XBLA games because I can actually finish them, and it's really satisfying to actually get to an end of a game and say that's done and move on.
Yeah, definitely. I think like Celeste is a good example because there's a load of post-credit stuff, but in no way sort of tells you that like the ending is fine. Like it's not like but you haven't actually finished the game, dickhead. Like it is just like that's an ending. There is more stuff, but it feels totally optional, which is nice.
In terms of the story stuff, I'll definitely recommend Celeste. It's got a fantastic story.
Yeah. Right, what else we got? Adam Reynolds says, I'm playing Assassin's Creed Origins and in 4K HDR on an Xbox One X. The graphics are mind-blowing. The world is so detailed that I find myself stopping and taking in loads of little details all the time, such as mosaics on the floor made from thousands of tiny tiles. Some players could potentially never even see them. My question is, what game has had the same effect on you in the last year or so, and what are the details that made you stop and marvel at the stunning world?
Probably the best example of this for me is Uncharted 4.
Oh, yeah.
I don't use photo mode that much, but Uncharted 4, I played that throughout, just stopping and looking at the scenery and stuff. There were moments of like insane vertigo at the top of cliffs in the levels set in Scotland. And then when I got my PS4 Pro, that was the first game that I tried out on it, and the first game that blew me away visually in 4K, and again just went into the photo mode again and started just looking around. Those Uncharted games look incredible. So The Last of Us is going to look insane, but and then the Lost Legacy as well, that game that had some incredible views. So I was doing that a lot.
I'm struggling. I know this is something I've done. I'm just trying to think of standout examples.
I definitely did it in Destiny 2. At points in the campaign where it looks stunning. I definitely stopped and looked at that a few times. Yeah, and definitely Uncharted 4. And I think the most recent Tomb Raider game, I definitely stopped at points there to look over like huge mountain ranges or whatever's in the background there.
I think for me it was probably Shadow of the Colossus. The remake of that, because that looks amazing, like in 4K and everything. Yeah.
Mentioning Destiny 2, actually, yeah. So when you finish the story, spoilers, you unlock a new tower, where like that's your sort of hub that you go to.
We can finally say
no
it.
one's gonna give us shit for it. Yeah, I don't think anyone was really that bothered at the time. But the sort of bizarre stroke merchant bit side of it, like. That's stunning. Similar reasons that Adam mentions for Assassin's Creed. There's loads of like really intricate mosaic stuff. Like there's a big sort of Middle Eastern influence there. Like that's really beautifully put together. And then there's like the whole sort of new monarchy bit is like this sort of mad, sort of hand carved wooden frame that sort of looks like a fucking shisha den or something. That's really beautiful. It's just as well because you have to visit it fucking million times. Right. Anyone else? Is that?
I mean, I guess also like Zelda Breath of the Wild. I mean, that's not 4K, it's not HDR, but my god, it looks great.
Yeah, but it's hard to sort of express that. Like, because we've said it before, you take a screenshot.
Oh, it looks like arse. Like, it looks so bad. yeah. To see, I guess like with that game, the difference is you can go there and it feels much more real. And if
you can go there.
It's just great. I mean, even though looking in screenshots it does not look good, when you're actually in there in the game, you can fly there, you can do whatever you want. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I should mention No Man's Sky because I do this in No Man's Sky, but it's not the detail; it's just the random shit that happens that occasionally produces something beautiful. Like it's not. It's not like looking around going, oh, look at all the... because obviously every planet has, like, randomly generated plants and stuff, and there's a lot of complicated stuff going into that, but the result is basically like, oh, yeah, it's a little plant. Great. Like, there's no... it's not like, oh, fuck, like, someone built that and put that there. There's none of that. But in a way, knowing that it's random sort of, like, makes it quite cool when you do find something nice, I guess.
I mean, that game's all about locations and the spectacle, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. Right, Sina Kadiri says, Dear Leds, recently punted for a Samsung LED TV and was wondering what TVs you game on and whether you use monitors for lower input lag. Also, having been slightly behind, I've just listened to the Capone episode. Is he actually like that or is he acting? I honestly can't tell if it's just a masterclass of constructed behaviour.
No, he's actually like that. Well, I've got a what is it? A Sony Bravia 4K TV. It's not got HDR, but
you'd be all right.
It's all right. It does the job. It's
So
nice.
I took a punt on one of those Hisense ones a couple of weeks back because I was in like Asda, and they have those like supposedly Polaroid TVs, and obviously it's one of those instances where like the name just got bought by someone who was churning cheap shit out, and everyone, like, I mentioned it on Twitter and everyone warned me off it. But no, the Hisense, even though they're a relatively new brand, everyone seems to really rate them.
Nah, they're not. They're a Chinese brand from ages ago.
They are a Chinese
they're one
brand,
of the biggest ones in
government
China.
owned.
Yeah.
And everyone seems to rate them. And yeah, to be fair, I've been well pleased with it. Just grabbed it in the Amazon Prime Day shit. Very happy with it. Planet Earth 2, mate. Beautiful.
Oh yeah.
What are you gaming on, James?
I've got like an LG 4K TV, like HDR and all that kind of thing. It's very nice.
Okay.
Oh, God, sorry.
Matt, be quick.
I want a Samsung K7000 thing, but I 4K HDR, all that stuff. But I also play upstairs in the office, and I've got like a 1440p monitor. And
Okay.
I know like Xbox One X can do 1440p, which is technically 2K. But I love how games look. It just like the difference between that and 1080p is massive in my eyes. So I'm happy just playing on this if I can't go downstairs and play on the big TV.
I mean, he mentions the input lag thing. Has anyone ever bothered about that?
I've not noticed any problems.
I mean,
I
I know
if I play
like,
fighting games,
yeah.
maybe, but
fighting
I don't,
games,
so.
music games, but then obviously not so many of them coming out these days. And those that do come out usually have some mechanism for coping with the input lag. Like if you play like an old rhythm game on a modern TV, you are fucked. But yeah, generally speaking, they compensate for it now.
Oh, the amount of times we had plastic guitars in our hands and listening to. You're just going, what, 1 millisecond. Let's try that now. Oh, it's awful. Midway through a song, you haven't hit one note. You're just like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, recalibrate.
The menu.
Just got to recalibrate the input lag. Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah.
Right, tweets. If you want to send us a tweet at Computer Game Pod on Twitter.
Get yourself on that Twitter.com.
Mickey fucking Duffy.
Friendly communities on Twitter.com.
That's a lie. There's no friendly communities on Twitter.com.
They're all friendly on. Everyone's lovely on
Mickey
there, aren't
fucking Duffy at Chunky Duffy
There he
says,
is.
choose one game world you would like to visit for a day and one you'd live in forever.
Well, the one in forever is Zach's Island in Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. I would
Stolen my
live there
answer.
forever.
Absolute scum.
Thanks, man. James, that noise made it worse. One that I'd visit for a day. Oh God. Not Breath of the Wild. It's way too dangerous.
You see, you say that the
those
whole
red dudes
the
are
tone in
fucking
Breath of the Wild is so weird because obviously, like, you know that the world's ended and like and like you lost 100 years ago, and it's kind of sad. But everyone's pretty much just getting on with their lives. Like when you talk to people in the villages or people traveling about,
Yeah, I
just
mean,
like,
but there's so much threat about them just outside.
Yeah, I
the
guess.
Fucking
Yeah, you'd never
walls,
go
you know what I
anywhere,
mean,
would
where
you?
They're living. Like, I mean, they're pissing down in one of the villages.
I suppose, yeah,
non-stop.
it's easy to forget that if you went there, you wouldn't have the teleporting device or the fucking glider or the.
You're staying in in that village where everyone's way too happy and worried about their chickens getting out, whatever. No, of course it would be on the Normandy for a day.
Oh yeah.
On the
Joe,
Normandy for a day.
I was going to say that's where I'd like to just go like forever. Like, I'd be happy with
there's
that.
way too much death.
No.
There's way too
Mass
much
Effect
death.
1 or 2, that era, not 3.
Yeah, but if you're
'cause
there
that's
forever,
when
you will
we're worried
eventually
about-
get to Mass Effect 3, James. That's how time works.
Well, no, 'cause I won't live forever.
Remember how that ended? I'd love to live forever under the threat of universe-eating monsters heading towards us slowly. No, there for a day, Zach's Island for a lifetime. Lovely. That's the best answer you'll ever get, Matt.
If I could visit a place for a day, GTA 4.
You can just go to New York.
Yeah.
I see. That's the whole point. It's free holiday. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. I mean, I would like No Man's Sky is dangerous, but also it'd be amazing to set foot on another planet. So I'm going to go there as well.
Could you specify No Man's Sky in creative mode? Do you think is that allowed?
So yeah, definitely creative mode only.
Me for a day, Hyperlight Drifter because it's beautiful, but it's fucked and dangerous. And and forever. Oh, fucking Yoshi's Island, mate.
Oh,
Yeah,
mate,
so
that's
get
the
me
wrong
that. Why is that the
island.
wrong
Yeah.
one?
Because Zack's Island is the island to go to.
See, I was thinking of like Animal Crossing,
Yeah.
and I think I would like to visit it, but only for a day. But I'd like to just do stuff like see if you can like push the animals over and stuff.
Helper in a New Leaf, didn't you?
No, I just think it'd be
Yeah,
funny
I
to
think-
like just go there and just try and push them over and stuff, you know, and just see,
I remember
see how
that.
they
I
react.
remember visiting your town and walking into your house and A, seeing just turnips everywhere, and B, seeing a painting of that helper, your mayor's helper, on your wall. And I was like, James, why have you got a painting of her up on your wall?
nothing
And you
wrong
were
with
like, don't worry
Isabel.
about that.
Nothing wrong with
Isabel.
Actually,
Isabel.
I'll change my
that's
answer. Forever, I'm going to go Stardew Valley.
Oh shit! Yeah, fair
It's so
dues.
nice there.
But you were barely there an hour.
I was there for 20 plus hours. Actually, I need to go back to that. Although
Okay.
today, I'm not sure because you probably haven't seen it, but they've like redone the character art for all the characters, and they
Really?
posted pictures of it, and all of them are like they now look angry or sassy or just different, and they're not how you imagine the characters to be. Suddenly they've all got like
They've added
attitude,
sass.
and
Jesus.
it's wrong.
I needed less attitude. I didn't want to get to know any of them because they're all just like, who are you? Fuck off.
Oh no, I love those guys.
What else? Oh yeah. So Mickey Duffy also asked, "What do you put on your chips?"
Salt and mayonnaise.
Salt and mayonnaise.
You're
Oh,
kidding.
that's intense. I'm
That's
just mayonnaise.
I'm just salt.
Salt and vinegar. Yeah, it's
Oh,
fine.
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't mind
so,
a
yeah,
bit
if
of
it's
vinegar. I've got time for vinegar, but if
it's from the
I would
chippy,
just put
then
salt.
yes, I'll have salt and vinegar, and then yes, I will add mayonnaise. But yeah, generally speaking, just mayo for me.
We all grew up in a time where chippies used newspapers,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Of course, yeah. What do they
Imprint
use
onto
now?
the chips.
like digital
Yeah.
holograms or what?
Yeah.
What?
What do you mean? No, they don't use newspapers
Polystyrene
anymore.
Just like
boxes,
that
isn't it?
paper in it, that weird paper stuff.
Yeah, it's just white
Is
paper.
it, so hang on, so
White
no
paper stuff.
no tomato ketchup between us then? Fucking hell. Good.
Yeah, fuck that.
Right, Darth Gamer at Darth__gamer says the TCGC MS crew are being cast for a new Only Fool series. 3 are obvious. David is Delboy, James is Rodney, and Matt is Uncle Albert. But who is Sean? Trigger, Boise, Mickey, Grandad, Raquel, Denzel.
God, this is a good
It is.
question. I think it is probably Denzel. Because he was just a nice guy that liked to hang out. He was okay to hang out with. No one had a problem with Denzel, did they? They all liked him.
What's
I see Sean
So-
as more of a granddad, to be
Thanks,
honest.
James.
No way.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Just,
How he gets
coming
out.
out with the anecdotes and all that kind of thing.
Coming out with the
Those
anecdotes.
anecdotes
Yeah.
that I'm
I
famous
mean,
for.
Sean's well liked for a number of things. His anecdotes ain't one of them.
Well, no, it's the same
Do
with
you know what I
Grandad, wasn't it? They were all shit as well.
what's the name of the guy in the pub who just like washing glasses the whole time?
Oh, what is his name?
Is it Mike?
Shit.
Yeah,
Mike, that's it. Of course it is. Yeah, it's Mike. Yeah, that's
good
not
one.
a bad shout either. Although he's a bit of a butt of everyone's jokes,
No, yeah, it
and
doesn't
I
work,
don't think
yeah.
Sean fits that. I think Sean is a Denzel.
Yeah, I'll take that.
But yeah. I like the fact that you're Rodney. Who was Matt?
Uncle Albert.
Uncle Albert.
During the war. Yeah, the one that everyone was really disappointed about. Oh, Matt, that is a diss. That is a massive, massive diss. Not as good as Grandad.
Right, MJL at Vault42 Overseer says, I recently saw the Sonic Mania Plus rehash of the old SNES versus Genesis advert. I haven't seen that. And it made me wonder what console straight game adverts stick in your mind for good and bad reasons. Now, I know I recently answered one about trailers, but this seemed worth including because adverts are a different...
What, like TV
Yeah, I guess
adverts?
so. I mean, for me, good ones, the Rick Mail SNES adverts. You ever seen those?
Yeah, they were good.
They're fucking good.
The Zelda one
Yeah,
was...
I have, yeah,
I always
yeah.
remember that. It was good.
No, all right.
Mate, they paid for his fucking
what do you call
house
it?
that he then called Nintendo Towers.
But the one that sticks out for me was the Bioshock Infinite trailer for two reasons. The first, I thought the game looked amazing, so that was pretty cool that it was all over the TV. And secondly, they used a Nico Viga song, and we were into
Yeah, I remember them. Yeah,
we were into that band before the advert happened, and they weren't really well known, and it was just like, holy shit, there you go, wow. I can't think of one that I've disliked.
There was
immensely.
the Zelda Shalt Thou Save the Girl or Play Like one. That was pretty fucking dire.
God, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's pretty bad.
I always remember
What was the one that we saw recently with the driving? It was a driving game one, wasn't it? And it was so offensive. It was like, "Don't drive like a girl."
Juiced.
That was like the tagline. Oh fuck! I'm gonna have to try and remember. We spoke about it on this podcast.
Juiced.
Was it Juiced?
Always fucking juiced for you. Jesus Christ!
There was a question that demands that answer.
Yeah.
Finally, you've got a reason to.
Maybe that's why they sent the question in.
Instead of enjoying the moment,
Maybe that should be the new listener challenge. People sending questions that subtly encourage James to talk about Juiced.
Where it has to be. What game do you like that involves cars and begins
The
with
colour
a J?
green.
Never even played it.
Yeah,
One
whatever. Right, last one. James Unwin at James Unwin 88. Question for tonight's pod, lads. Is Destiny 2's Forsaken DLC on or off everyone's plate?
I have started playing Destiny 2 again.
Have you?
Yeah, I was really enjoying it.
Good man. Yeah, it is smeared all over my plate. I am looking forward to it.
It's been sent back to the kitchen. I ain't got any interest at all in playing that.
Sent back to the kitchen in your own house. Is that how you operate?
Yeah.
Well, when's it actually out?
Is it
September?
4th of September, I think?
It's a bit annoying though because you log in now and it's like buy it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a big
On the map.
thing on the map.
Yeah, I mean, they've always done that. It's always a bit weird. Because it's sort of, it's like, oh, click here, and it just plays the trailer that you've already seen. So, right, okay, thanks. Yeah, because I was shitting it, because someone tweeted at us saying, like, I can't remember that they were going to come to EGX, but, you know, Destiny DLC. I was like, oh, fuck, is it the same weekend? But no, it's not. So, fine.
Good.
Destiny-wise, I've got to ask, like, is Owen doing the Age of Triumph right now?
I have no idea.
Because I know like he was like massively into it last time, and it was.
Yeah, I think he sort of hated it by the end, though. So I don't think.
I wonder
he's,
if even Owen was still into it. I guess that was what I was using that as my barometer for how good the game is.
Yeah. Right, that's it.
The end. The end. Finn, Matt, have you got anything to say for yourself?
Only that we're playing at EGX this year, 22nd September. You just need a day ticket to come see us, so go to EGX.
Playing at
and get your
EGX
tickets.
like it's a fucking gig.
He keeps saying playing, and I've given up.
Well, okay, we're going on stage
We're
for 2 hours.
performing
a breakdance.
Look, it's a live show. It's going to be fun. If you haven't got your ticket, please get a ticket because we need people there. Bring friends. If you've got a ticket, buy a ticket for a friend and bring them along. Stick them in your T-shirt that you definitely bought from us, and he'll fit right in. He'll fit right in.
He or she.
Or she. Goodbye.
Sake.
Bye.
Nice.
Bye-bye. I wanted to talk to Napoleon.